everywhere. Animal, stop and stare. Come on, oh come now. Oh come, all ye please now. I'm just trying to go live. Okay. So here we are on the laptop yet again. Where I'm looking down because the screen's over here. Let me put all the cards away. Y'all remember how I saved the stream last time, right? I was like, oh, it froze on my computer. That's fine. I can open up my laptop. I'll go to OBS. I'll do it in stream mode. I can save the stream. I put in the key. I did all the things. It dropped like a good percentage of the frames. They were like, we don't have enough video to keep this going. So I had to end it. And now I'm back. And hopefully this works. I looked down at the time. I saw Holly come back. And that was the last comment I saw. I finished reading the cards. I'm not gonna mention it because it might stall the video. Ooh, this is gorgeous energy. And we're just gonna move on to the thing that I was supposed to talk about before I went live, right? So I was talking to my journey buddy, as I do. I feel like it's going to get dark soon. It's already starting to darken. Dark, what light beyond the window doth break. Leaf shade at the bottom of the deck. And Windhorn came out. Windhorn unbound, being leaf shade cradled. Oh my gosh. This is literally all you need to know. All you need to know, unbound being and cradled leaf shade. It was. I don't even know where it cut out. I did. I tried to save the last stream. It didn't work. It said nope, new stream, and then I finished reading it, and I was like, oof, I feel complete in what I've done today. Maybe I don't even have to talk about what I was going to talk about. And then, yeah. Google told me, flipped a coin. Google said, talk about it. And then I noticed that my video, like the time had stopped. And I was just sitting there waiting because, it'll lag or it'll settle for a few seconds at a time and then it'll jump forward. I don't know why it started doing that or when it started doing that. So if the video jumps around or it's a little choppy, that's why. But yeah, Anubis shut it down. Anubis said, that's enough. I blame Everlong Mystic for mentioning the skills of Anubis. Excuse me. I'm getting tired. So that's all theatrics. It's actually pretty smooth and rather enjoyable. I'm just gonna put all the cards away. I blame the coyote. The coyote came out. Coyote said, Anubis, is this Vision Quest? It is Vision Quest. You puny mortal dare intrude upon my domain. I'll shut down your stream. Okay, fine. I think I got most of it read anyway. I'll keep looking down here. Maybe I should have just put it down here. Give me a moment to adjust the camera. Un momento, por favor. Yo explico un poco español. Can we talk about your Spanish speaking differential? Oh, well, in that case, yo explico un poco español. Oh, well, have y'all seen that? Why is this so high? It's fine. I can live with this. But like the glare from my glasses, ugh, this just isn't giving me. She's not fulfilling the fantasy. You know what I mean? I guess if I do it this way. Oh, snap. You know what? I see where this is going. I see where this is going. Someone wanted to be present for this conversation and shut down my stream. First, I thought it may be Anubis. Then I thought, where is Mercury? Still in its post-retrograde shadow. And now, as I try to center myself on the screen, I see where this is going. Now, when I come back, if you haven't already guessed, you'll see where this is going too. You shall. Oh, oh, I'm effing up. Oh, well, everything is fine. Everything is fine. Can you hear the chaos? Y'all remember what I was saying about chaos in Aquarius? Let's see. And then I can put this back. Yay. Oof. I feel like this is such a serious talking stance. Ooh, I feel like we're about to get a little serious. Serious. Lionsgate. 8-8. Jenga. I guess this is why. Because I was like, oh, like looking up here is awkward when the thing is over here. And then I tried to set it here and it wasn't looking right. I couldn't really center myself. And then as I centered myself on the screen, I saw the edge of the tapestry. And I was like, oof. So this is the we need to have a talk angle. No. This is my reminder of all those Saturn return lessons or whatever. I'm so great at just getting right to the point and having conversations that I don't want to have and saying how I really feel and communicating it. So anyway, I guess, yeah, here lately, and by lately, I mean, maybe for the past few months. I'm tired. I think the wine's got to me, honestly. I am in no shape to record anything. I should just leave. Hey, Google, flip a coin.
It landed on heads.
Oh, heads, and I can leave, but I'm not going to do it because Google already said do it. So anyway, just I guess where I am in my journey. I'm at this point in my journey, and I think of like purpose, maybe. And that's why, like, I mean, I was also, not in the business of being fun. And I was talking to my journey buddy. And I was like, you're Emily, you're my journey buddy. Of course I can talk about this. I don't know. It's nice to have friends who have like who know you, who have witnessed your growth, but who you can also trust to be like real with you and honest with you, right? An invaluable asset. She makes me better just by her being who she is. Excuse me. We'll get one final card. One final card from the, almost said the Fruma. Ooh. The owl came out, and I was like, ooh, because we've been seeing lots of owls. Where's Palace Athena? We've been seeing the owls in the SKT. Bottom of the deck is the Jaguar. And I'm like, oof. Because they're kind of in the same domain, low key. And then the the curse is behind the Jaguar. Oof, with the silence. So anyway, I guess I've been thinking about life lately, and that's not surprising. I've been like looking at career and different kinds of things, like settling in a way, um, just being like, touching in. I've been touching base with myself. Like, what am I doing? Where am I going? What do I want to do? What am I looking for out of life right now? And so like before the cut short video today, when I was like, what does Patrick say? What does Patrick do? And I feel like one of the main takeaways is that like Patrick does what he says, but he's still working on like receiving, right? When it came to receiving, it's like I speak out here, but I'm still getting this together and stuff like that. Where am I going with this? I don't know. Excuse me. She said it in such a perfect way that I wish I could have just like recorded it and played it. And then she was like, no, like, use your own words. The words, she said, the words are just a thing for a conduit, a vessel for the vibes, basically. I guess long story short, if I just cut to the chase, if I get to the point, uh, I feel like my North Node Sagittarius was burning bright and was burning hot for a minute. Um, I'm just don't judge me. Well, feel free to judge me. I don't care if you judge me. I wonder if like saying "don't judge me" has ever stopped someone from judging somebody else. You know what I mean? I'm just curious what's around the heart of the sky, because that Saturn tapestry is giving me heart of the sky energy, and I remember heart of the sky being at the cut when I shuffled this step earlier. The corn. Excuse me. 1010. The corn is number 10. 37 is number 10. The heart of the sky is in between the moon and the corn. Now, the corn, the only association I have with corn, I know it represents abundance and stuff like that. My primary association with corn is that it comes out the same way that it went in. And sometimes, seemingly miraculously, it reconstitutes itself. Why am I going here? I don't know. I am, okay? This is me being direct. I feel like over the past, I don't know how long I felt that I in part witnessed what my North Node in Sagittarius does for me. Meaning, like, if I get on here and I'm like, are these things that we think are true about the spiritual path true, or is it true because of the part that we play? And because of the things that we do and the things that we don't do and the result. Does it have to be true, or is it a situational, circumstantial truth? And when I first got North Node in Sagittarius, like, it was because I felt that there were things that should be said or mentioned that I wasn't coming across. Like, it wasn't being said, it wasn't being mentioned, and I thought it was equally as important to like for those things to be known, right? And even when I read, I'm like, take it as it resonates. Don't listen to me if it don't resonate. Like, tap into the energy maybe and like see how it unfolds for you. If it's true for you, it doesn't have to be what I read it to be. It doesn't have to be what whoever reads it to be. Like, you are, at the end of the day, energy is energy, but you're the one that makes the choices and decisions in your life. So yes, this is amazing energy. It's gorgeous energy. But if you don't make the choices and decisions to make it your reality, it won't be. And yes, this is like challenging, difficult energy. But, there are choices and decisions. The divine leads you. Trust in your work. Trust in your healing. You'll get through it. Right? It's on you. And yes, there are external forces, but the internal circumstance, there's always, like, it always wins out eventually. at the end of the day. And sometimes the external supports the internal, sometimes the external goes against it. It is what it is. Uh, but anyway, I guess I feel like lately I don't necessarily always see, maybe it's because what I see as the discrepancy between my perspective, opinion, viewpoint, and what I hear, because it's decreasing, it's smaller, it's more so aligning. I don't necessarily feel the need to like come on and say this or say that as much as I did at for sure at one point in time, right? And so it's not like my work is done, but also like it's no secret that I am a 3D muggle dense lover through and through. Give me a cubicle and a water cooler and my little tearaway calendar and the pictures of my friends and family, and I'm good. Like the Earth fantasy is it for me. Like my Neptune is in like basically in my midheaven. Like that's what I want. That's what I dream of. Career that I love, and coworkers that I love, and a boss that I love, and work that is impactful and meaningful, and work that keeps folks in mind, right? That's about more than just money, and that's done in ways of integrity, and that's ethical and moral, and like that's more so what I want, right? And I feel like maybe there was a point in time when that discrepancy was like lower again, and I felt like it's good. Like I don't necessarily like. Sometimes, of course, I'd still come on and read energies because I'm just like curious or like I don't know. That's how I am loving reading transits now. That's what keeps it engaging for me. More so like looking at okay, like and while this planet was in the previous sign or in the current sign before it transits into another, what were we supposed to learn? What tools do we have in our toolkit now? And what's coming? Like, what are some potential ways in which we're going to be asked to use this, or what are going to apply this to at least make? And it's like, I don't know. I'm just like, sometimes it's not always like necessary or called for, but it's not what I want to do. It's not my muggle fantasy. And for a hot second, I thought that I was ready to like, I don't know, dive in or jump in or devote more time, energy, effort. Of course, there are things that I still haven't done or explored within me that I wanted to, for sure, at some point in time. Um, like really exploring energy and getting into energy outside of cards, but then I'm like, cards are a nice buffer for me. I love it because then I don't have to get into it. I can like, it's almost like using a telescope from a distance. It's like if you could, and I'm sure a lot of people say they would rather observe what's happening on Earth through a screen or a telescope from some distant place, being in the middle of it, which would you rather do? I mean, enough people don't even want to be on this planet anyway. Enough people are like, when's it's fine. We ain't got to go there. It's not about that. It's just like, I don't know. I don't want to. It's not that I don't want to do it, but it's like sometimes I see the value and the benefit of it. And it's not that I don't want to be of value, but it's like, this isn't what I want. Like, I want my purpose to be different than this. Not more than this, not less than this. I just want it to be different. Like, I feel like I toe the line between like more or less muggle 3D. Like, I want a career, I want a job. Like, the reason why, and it's a lot of it's related, it's not completely unrelated. I remember like being a kid and I was like, sure. And then I remember like one time when my aunts got sick. Um, and, of course, like talking to the doctor, someone that has knowledge, someone that has like a technical understanding that's also like the liaison between like this is what's happening in the very like technical whatever, but being able to communicate it to the people who like it affects so that they can be empowered to make choices and decisions, even if they don't have the same technical background or the same knowledge of like the nitty gritty detail. You know what I mean? And so there was a point in time where it was like, if I'm capable, because my memory is decent and I'm able to pick up information, like if I can pick up information, now I'm like, wow. Again, I said it's connected. I'm starting to see how it's really connected. But I was like, if I'm capable of like learning and picking up this information, and if I can be someone who can empower other people or who can give them the information in a way that they understand it, that they can use it to make everyday real life choices and decisions and be empowered, rather than like a whole bunch of stuff that you don't understand. And someone's like, just trust me. I know what I'm talking about. You're an idiot who doesn't know anything. I know what's best, especially when it comes to like things that affect other people. It's not that I felt a responsibility to use my ability to like learn um, and to get information for others, but it's like something that I considered as a possibility, right? So I go through school and eventually I was like, I want to be engineering for the math and the science. I like math and science, not physics. I don't. If I could choose a science I'd like is the most, it would be physics, but like biology, chemistry, biochemistry, microbiology, physical chemistry, organic chemistry, chemistry and biology, the life sciences, I really like. And I was like, well, I could be someone so my concentration is in pharmaceutical process engineering because I wanted to make medicines. But I wanted to make medicines that like actually help people, that don't intentionally create a whole bunch of side effects, that's also affordable so that people can like afford to actually live and enjoy their lives. Right. And so I guess in a way, now that I hear me say it, the irony of let's say I want to be able to tap into and tune into this energy of like possibility, something bigger, something brighter, something outside of the darkness and the mire and the muck that we're in, and like be able to help us see beyond the limitations of our current circumstances if we have them, but at the same time empower us to do what we need to do to make that a reality, and to not just be this perpetual shining utopian glorious moment that never comes into being, because while we're great at calling for it and manifesting it, we aren't necessarily as well equipped or educated to receive it. And it's almost like there's a lot of stuff, or quite a few things that'll talk about like the dark night of the soul, and it'll talk about shadow work, but it's almost like it talks about it in a way that can get someone to call it in, to get someone to experience a dark night, or when something is happening, to create them, even if it's not necessarily that magnitude. But especially like more so in the past, from what I had encountered, there wasn't necessarily as much about like how to successfully navigate them, to the point where we're not going through the same dark nights or being triggered by the same things over and over and over and over and over again. It's like it's great at getting us to manifest the dream and getting us to call in experiences that will get us there ultimately, but it's not as good as like helping us work through those experiences to get there. So we get stuck at all that's required for us to be ready to receive what we want, and we never get to the actual receiving. And then of course, I'm like, well, that works for devil energy, because devil energy is like, how can we make people suffer mentally, emotionally, physically, anyway, get them to manifest greater, Devil energy knows that in manifesting greater and manifesting beyond, we have to become a vessel that is purified and cleaned and healed enough to receive it. So in manifesting this thing out there, we're also calling forward onto us those opportunities to make ourselves better, stronger, more courageous, wiser, whatever. But devil energy, of course, isn't necessarily going to provide us the solutions to get through the darkness. It just abandons us when we get there. And so, of course, we don't hope. I was going to say, hopefully, we don't. At least not all of us. We don't engage with the divine. It's like when we speak to the divine, or when we manifest with the divine, we expect the divine. We don't necessarily expect like devil energy when we go to the divine. But again, there are things that the divine will allow, because ultimately for your highest good, it's going to get you what you want and where you want to be. Is it going to require some things that are challenging and difficult? Maybe. Especially if you're not in a place to receive it. Yeah, if you want it and you can't receive it, you're going to have to outgrow your pot, your vessel, your container. And there's going to be some growing pains. But it's just like, it's a lot of ways that I feel like conversations are almost subverted. Taming the wind, and it came out in reverse. It'll get us to call in the storm, because the storm is what we need to make space and to make ready for what we want. Earthkeeper at the bottom of the deck. But again, it's like it doesn't empower us to actually do it. But it gives us the sense of empowerment. Anyway, it was like, it's like the conversations have shifted enough that, again, I'm like, for the most part, I don't have any, like, I'm not going to hear and say something just to say it. I don't feel the need to be a voice in a chorus. If there's something that's not being said and I feel like it deserves mentioning, yeah. But if I don't need to say anything, and I think I forget, because if I pull on real life experience, I forget that not everyone sees, hears, witnesses what I'm seeing, hearing, witnessing. I get that from the point and perspective of, if I'm communicating something that I believe to be true, I know that I don't hear everything. So I'm not saying ain't nobody saying this. All I'm saying is I haven't encountered it, and I feel like it warrants mentioning. But for the things that I do hear, I don't feel like I necessarily have to come on and be like, I don't have to come on with that same energy. You know what I mean? But again, just because now I'm hearing it, or now it's aligning, now that it's aligning, I don't feel the need to say it or mention it. But I don't know what other people are coming across, right? And so in some cases, scenarios, and situations, that's probably not too hard to guess at. If I don't feel the need to like say anything or bring awareness and attention to something because of all of the buzz, not buzz, I feel like buzz is because of all of the awareness that I see being like propagated, again, like, I have to keep in mind that not everyone that I'm connected to has that same experience. And I don't want to seem indifferent to certain things just because, like, like, I know that we're all on the same page and we're all whatever. I don't know. Anyway, I do my best. Excuse me. I do my best to empower and encourage people to, regardless of the situation and circumstances that you're in, regardless of what the energy is presenting as when I read it, you are the one that makes the choices and decisions. If it don't resonate, don't take it. Like, I think another thing that I've noticed is that sometimes it may be hard to discern what resonates for us and what isn't, and what doesn't resonate for us. I think sometimes there's the almost assumption that if we come across something, then it's meant for us. If I see this video, then it's meant for me. It resonates for me. It wouldn't come into my experience if it wasn't for me. And maybe earlier in the path journey, that's more so true. But after a certain point, sorry, I'm trying to like not be so dark. Oh, anyway, um, I'll have my face in shadow. I think again, maybe it's more so in the beginning before we have a healthier discernment. And not to say that it ever necessarily changes, but I know for me, not every video, not every reading that I come across, not every reading that I do resonates for me. And my discernment is like, okay, yeah, no. And I remember there was an experience where like I had of like knowing that a video didn't resonate for me. Like I knew it didn't resonate for me. And to this day, it still doesn't resonate. Um, and someone was like, oh, well, like, what about this and what about that? And like, well, do you actually know like what's going on? This could resonate for you and you just don't know it. And I'm like, yeah, no. And then the whole like phenomenon of cross watching, to me, it's almost a little wild because, oof, hi, welcome. The whole phenomenon cross watching to me is a little wild because sometimes we can't even discern what videos resonate for us. We can't even like, we will know our lives and we will know our situations and still not be able to discern if something resonates for us. But now we're going to watch a video for someone else who we partially know, who sometimes we're not even in contact with, no communication. But here's a video for like, if we can't discern what resonates for us, how are we supposed to be able to reliably discern what is accurate for a situation with a person centered around a person that we know absolutely nothing about? And then, of course, that falls into the camp of when we invite problems, when we create storms and dark nights out of things that could be non-resonant or smaller, when we get whipped up into a frenzy thinking this and thinking that in a situation, again, that we know nothing about, with the discernment that ranges from completely off to shoddy to like spot on. And then that's when you'll hear people talk about like, you know, I had to take a break from readings because I was watching too many, or like needing to take a break from readings, or like stick to one reader. And it's like, you know, not to say that breaks don't need to happen and that it's not helpful, because there are for sure parts in the journey that I believe are for us to navigate ourselves, and to know that you have people there that love and care about you, to know that you have support is amazing, because if you need them, they'll be there. But there are some parts of the journey where we learn to stand on our own, where we tap into our strength and we tap into our courage and bravery, and where it strengthens to the point where it can be a pillar or a column in our foundation to get us to be more self-reliant and more, so to get us to be in that position of sovereignty and authority that, you know, we're all manifesting and claiming. And again, it's not that sovereigns don't have allies and trusted confidants and advisors and fellow sovereigns that they can rely on, but it's like for us to be solid and stable within self, and then solid and stable in our relationships and connections, because that is the lattice structure that forms the crystal. You know what I mean? It's the strength of those bonds and connections. Each molecule, each atom itself has to be almost like strong enough to withstand the forces. It's a force that evenly distributes when pressure is put upon it. I'm thinking like a lattice structure, or like the infrastructure for a building. it's evenly distributed based upon the design when a force is put up on it. But if one of those molecules is weak, it'll break and it'll crack, and that'll be the source of the entire collapse. If it's at the top, you don't necessarily lose that much because you can rebuild it. But if it's at the foundational level, the whole building, regardless of the integrity of the structure above, the whole thing can collapse because the foundation that it's built upon, something happened down there. So yeah, what was it? I'm not responsible for your poise. I was like, I wish I could say what Emily said. I wish I recorded it. Ooh, Emily, look at this. Look at this. I just cut the deck. The holy mountain. What? What? Maybe it is all connected. And the Earth Keeper, the holy mountain, and the Earth Keeper. But yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I don't want to be anyone's Hierophant, and I feel like that's because a lot of times it seems that when it comes to Hierophants, even if they're just like teachers and mentors, we as people can lean more on the person than the teaching or the power of the force, the power of the divine that lies beyond that person. Sometimes we start to pedestal Hierophants and treat them as if they are divine. And they're just the conduit, the vessel through which it flows. But like, again, we get stuck. And I'm not like I'm not interested in that. Which is like I'm glad there aren't like I have a nice sizable following. The rainbow, the middle world, and the sun. That's one of God's promises. Yes. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I know where that book is. I'll send it to you later. And excuse me, it was Emily that reminded me. She was like, yeah, like she was like, like you do a good job at empowering people and at letting people know, like, beyond take it as it resonates, your choices, your decisions, and the way that you navigate life is a lot of ways, especially in some ways more so than others. It's what determines the experience that you have with the energies that are transiting. Like the planets are so big and vast in what they can mean, and the signs are so vast in how they can be interpreted, and the divine is so mysterious in its ways. It can play out in a number of ways. Some more beneficial, some less desirable to our ultimate like end goal. And I don't know, but like I said, I feel like the conversation has shifted enough that I don't know. I don't necessarily. It's not like I'm ready to move on, but excuse me, kinda. I wonder if this is what Rob felt. I'm talking about Rob Odinson, not Rob Kenobi. I wonder if this is what Rob Odinson felt before his rebirth into Rob Kenobi. So if you see the channel deleted tomorrow, don't be surprised. Oh, I forgot to mention that. So I was talking to M, and I just had that paper too. I was talking to M, and she was like, I watched your 111 video and your video for like your wrap up of 2023. And one thing that you kept saying, she was like, there was something that you kept saying. Do you know what it is? And I was like, no, like, what is it? I'm interested. She was like, move on. She was like, you kept saying move on, and you also said move forward, but move on, you said like the most. And I was like, wow, I didn't even catch that. And she was like, well, that's not surprising because you were in it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. But yeah, apparently that's the energy. Move on, move forward. So, wow, maybe it is time then. There are a few cards in this deck. Let's see. Mystical shaman, oracle cards, and the divine that guides providence, fortune, and chance. Tell me, is it time to delete the channel and move on, or should I stay? Something flipped over. Let's see. That doesn't help. This is what a non-answer. What a non-answer. Oh, wait. There's another one. So, the Holy Mountain. And see, that's so Holly. That's why, like, when you said it, I was like, at least I felt, I was primarily joking because, especially because the Hierophant came out early. I was like, what does Patrick say? King of Pentacles. What does Patrick do? Hierophant. I'm like, no, no, no. Patrick doesn't want to be a Hierophant. Patrick will delete this channel before that happens. And, as much as I believe in my potential to impact and to assist and to help empower others, I also know that I am irrelevant. I'm irrelevant enough that if it is someone I'm empowered and to become who they happen, regardless of if they come across me, see me, whatever. I could be removed from the equation, and ultimately, at the end of the day, all will end up balanced and fair and fine, right? So, could I quit? Water. Could I walk away? The drum. Should I delete this channel? The coyote. I don't know what that means. Holy Mountain came out. I'm like, okay, like, what is that? Holy Mountain is such a non-answer. And then also the owl flipped over. The Holy Mountain and the owl. I'm like, bottom of the deck is the rattle. The rattle that froze the video. The Earth Keeper and Completion. I accidentally flipped these over. I meant to pick them up. Well, what's left? There's only one card left. The Andean Cross. But yeah, moving forward, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do what I always do, which is I'm gonna do what I want to do, what I feel guided and led to do. I'm gonna mention curious things that I've noticed in my life and in the lives of people that I know, which, like, so for me, ever since my Saturn return, it kind of like effed up my perception of what is personal and what is collective, right? Because, and of course, like I said, I take it as it resonates. If it don't resonate for me, I don't take it. Or at least, at the very least, I do my darndest to not take what doesn't resonate for me. Um, One second, sorry. Okay. Um, what was I talking about? I don't even remember what I was talking about. My curiosities and stuff like that, or whatever. Yeah, it was just like there was a moment in time where it was just like I felt like what I wanted or needed to say and do, I like did. And I guess it was a is is the right word to use. If brain, I got some stuff I need to get figured out. It was a question if brain. No, not a question if brain. It's a question if like if something that maybe I can do is something that I have to do, and I didn't want it to be what I have to do. Like I don't mind it. I wouldn't mind it being a part of my purpose or a part of the reason why I'm here, a part of what I can try to give to others. Um, but I don't want it to be my life. You know what I mean? If that makes like I don't like I would want for my purpose to be more than that because I don't. And again, it's not that I don't appreciate how it seems that more and more we're moving towards empowerment, or more and more I see us being empowered to work with the energies and also us being empowered to face the things that we need to face to get where we ultimately need to be. But I don't necessarily get like fulfillment out of it. Like there's a fulfillment, I guess, in seeing, believing, knowing that things are changing, but it's not a fulfillment in terms of like this is what I want to do. Like I'm really excited. Like how can I do this more? Like I don't I don't want to be nobody's hierophant. I'm not. I don't want to be a healer. I don't want to be this amazing, energetic, magical, mystical. Like I want my cubicle. I want my water cooler. I want my amazing coworkers. I want my work that feels fulfilling and impactful. Like I want to be a little bit more on the physical 3D infrastructure scale side, more so than the energetic, ethereal part of it. And I know that like ultimately it's going to end up being a bit of both, but I don't know. It was almost like when I was seeing it or witnessing it and experiencing it, I was just like, I don't, I don't want that to be my life. I don't want this to be what I do. And again, from like the curiosity side, sure. Like, let's just pull some cards, get into the energy. What's up? But and it's because at the end of the day, again, like we all have decisions and stuff like that to make. So yeah, that's basically where I was. Now I'm like, maybe I should question my whole life. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe again, this is just like I feel like my work is done. If it was work and if it was work for me to do, I don't feel the need to. Whatever. I'm curious. How does Patrick say that he feels? How does Patrick actually feel? Let's clarify that one. Also relevant, also true. So Patrick says that he feels thunder. Patrick actually feels the moon. And when I clarified the moon, because I was like, the moon could be anything, the upper world came out. And I was like, oh. But moon and upper world, is that not like also thunder energy? Hello. That's consistent. She's reading us consistent. Also, I can't remember if I told Emily. I think I did. I mentioned it's like, I don't know. I want to be where my curiosities are, you know? I want to be able to be where my curiosity is, but not do it in a way that neglects real life and where we are, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's like exactly perfectly succinctly it. Because I think sometimes we look into potential and we look at what's happening and we look at the transits and excuse me, I don't know. Is there a middle ground with transits? Right? Or is it almost kind of always extreme? It's like either this is like the best. Well, no, there is a middle ground with transits. It's just that sometimes it's like, oh, this is the transit, the most fortunate. Jupiter is doing this and Venus is doing that, and it's going to be amazing. Or it's like Saturn is doing this, Uranus is doing this, Pluto is doing that, Mars is doing this, and it's going to be the worst, most difficult. You're going to feel like a prisoner in your own life. I'm like, is there no in between? Hello? There is in between. But again, it's just like it's not to be so into the fantastic, amazing shifts in energetic changes. Like what's the latest on Miracle News Network to the point where we get so attached, so focused on the miracle and the miraculous and the good transit that again, we almost like we stop living our lives in the day to day. Like I don't want to waste my life. Like I wasted enough of my life away afraid because of my eyes and everything else, right? I don't want to waste the rest of my life away hopping and living from good transit to good transit. What's Jupiter doing now? What's Venus doing this weekend? Again, to the point where I don't do the things that I need to do in my life to be able to receive it and accept it. Patrick's been doing a lot of work lately on being positioned and able to receive. All things in time. But yeah, I want to be moon in the upper world. Like, what's going on? What's happening? Like, let's dig into it, right? And maybe it's partially on me. I think there's a lot of like what my conception is because of what this is the Queen of Swords in reverse for me. And what's wild is sometimes it ain't even me. You know what I mean? Like Reem will be like, I got this comment and I got this comment on my video. And I'm like, I wish somebody would. Y'all need to leave my friend alone, number one. Okay, don't leave her like alone, but like get a life, you know? You know what I mean? Not like get a life, but it's like some of the comments are ridiculous. Like you do this too much or too loud, and I'm like, girl, I wish somebody would come on here. It's just like, you ain't got to be here. You ain't gonna come over here and critique me because what? We ain't even got to go there. Ooh, taming the wind and the rainmaker. Love that energy. Taming the wind is the rainmaker. This is like the rainmaker. Taming the wind has an understanding of atmospheric phenomena that the rainmaker may not. It's almost like the rainmaker doesn't have to understand it in order for it to be a thing. The rainmaker is like, when I do this, that happens. This is like, and it's not that one is necessarily better than the other. They're just like different. It's almost like the Rainmaker would be more Piscean Jupiter, and the Taming the Wind would be more Sagittarian Jupiter. Like Sagittarius understands the intermolecular from the 3D point of view. Whereas Pisces, maybe in all of its delusion, is like the magical, like, yeah, when I set a bowl outside, it fills up with water by the time I wake up in the morning. And I got clean, safe water to drink. Don't know how it happens. Don't really care. All I know is that it works. And Sagittarius is like, actually, maggots don't spontaneously appear on rotted meat. It's the flies that lay their eggs in it. And when the eggs hatch, hey, there's already a whole bunch of food to eat. And that's what happens. You know, but it's kind of like that energy. Because taming the wind is like when the warm front meets the cool front. And when atmospheric magic happens, that is very scientific and logical and explainable. Then it rains. You know, when the clouds is that how precipitation works? There's like dust particles or something. There are particles in the clouds that condensation forms around, and when they get heavy enough, they fall. I appreciate it. I'm just finalizing appointments and stuff for this week because in a week and a day, I will be on a plane. I'm one of those people where it's like, it doesn't hit me until I'm like in the airport. Like when I'm in the airport, then I'll start to freak out. Or not like freak out, but that's when the reality will set in. Because anything can happen between now and then. And it's not one of those, I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to believe. I don't want to trust in something and then be disappointed when it doesn't happen because I'm Piscean delusional enough, you know, like disappointment is inevitable for this Piscean brain and heart for now. Ooh, if my life were ever what my Pisces dreamy self. And who's to say that it won't be? The moon is in Pisces now. That's what the comments say. I saw moon in Pisces. So yeah, I feel like I said and communicated everything that I wanted to. And again, it's just like not what I want for my life. It's not what I want my journey to be. It's not what I want. I don't want to say my most important contribution to the collective to be, because I wouldn't mind if it's my most important contribution to the collective. It's just like I don't want it to be my life. And at first I thought I didn't want it to be my life because of this or because of that. But when I let go of all that resistance, that's almost when I realized it's like, yeah, I don't want this. There are some people who don't want to be in the rat race, who don't want the 9 to 5, who would rather do something like this. There are many who do, but I don't. I don't. Like, that's not what I want. And I'm okay with that, right? I can be super spiritual and all this when I'm gone. And when my soul has departed this vessel and is no longer attached until who knows what happens after that. At that point, then I can be all whatever. But while on earth, do as the humans do, right? The lower world and the smoky mirror. Oof. Sure. Ooh. On the side of the smoky mirror is the eagle. On the side of the lower world is the jaguar. Behind the jaguar is the journey. The journey of the jaguar through the lower world. And behind the eagle is just water. Oh, and then there's our wild woman with soul retrieval. Soul retrieval, wild woman, water. There she is again. It's like there's something about the eagle that clarifies the pool. So instead of the smoky mirror, it's just water. It's a pool of water. No fog, no disturbances, no distortions. It's water. Cool. So, yeah, that's basically it. Also, I guess congratulations are in order to the collector. I know, like, I rag every now and then for, to me, very good reason. When it's like, but to me, it's all related. Just like we can manifest things in our own lives that require us to grow beyond our current circumstance, to accept and receive and to become who it is that we declare ourselves to be, but to really be it in action and deed and motivation and attitude in every way, more than just word and more than just empty titles that only ourselves can verify or whatever or validate. And it's not that there's a need for external validation, but there is like an internal accreditation, maybe. Like there are many self-proclaimed masters of many things that are actually masters at that thing, but they also have the aptitude for it. You know what I mean? It's not like, anyway, I feel like the point is there. But I feel like congratulations are in order. My North Node in Sagittarius is like, okay, like we're done. There's not a whole bunch of like, I feel like I've said everything that I need to say. And I feel like by and large, for the most part, at least in my life, in reality, I'll witness it. Now, of course, alignment happened, right? And sometimes when alignment happens, certain things just kind of, some things vanish, some things mysteriously and miraculously appear. Ooh, the mystical shaman just came out. And there's a bit of the, not the mystical shaman, remote pilot and the eagle. Pachamama's at the bottom of the deck. And then there's the corn again. Corn to me, it's like it comes out the same way that it went in. Which is like, it was what, the Two of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Five of Swords, where the Hermit beat out the King of Swords. It's almost like a true testament to one's character. A true testament of one's character is when their circumstance, when the external circumstance doesn't define who they are. A true testament of someone's character is when they have nothing, but they're still generous. When even while they, okay, well, some of it, you know, everything is gray. Nothing's necessarily black and white, besides the things that are black and white. I'm not going to say that there aren't certain things that are more obviously one thing than another. I'm not going to say that evils don't exist in this world. I'm not going to say that people aren't capable of evil, because they are. And there are people who choose evil every day. You know what I mean? It happens. And I'm not going to be, there is no good, there is no bad. That's polarity, that's illusion, that's separation. It's earth, it's reality, it's where we live, and it's where we are. Ignoring it and making it, treating it like it's not a problem or whatever, gives it permission to exist. It's like, you know, if you got a moldy whatever, if you ignore the mold, it doesn't just like disappear, it spreads. And the same, it's like, let's say you have a house and the mold starts in like behind the refrigerator. And you're like, there is no mold in this house, there's no mold in this house, so I'm going to avoid the refrigerator because there is no mold. And then the mold spreads to the entire kitchen. So now you're not in your kitchen because you're avoiding the mold. Now you're not in your living room, your front room. You've lost access to the entire first floor of your house because there is no mold. There is no mold, and I will just keep navigating my life so that I don't see it. Now you can't even leave. You're just up on the second floor. Maybe you're starving, you're hungry, you're going through your dark night of the soul because there is no mold. There is no mold. I can't go to the bathroom. I haven't eaten in weeks because the mold has consumed the house. Until you're in the corner, in the fetal position with your eyes closed. And then the mold takes you. When it's like, or you could hire somebody to clean it. Get a little bit of bleach, clean it up. When it's a single speck behind the refrigerator, now you get to avoid that whole inconvenience of literally boxing yourself into a corner and blaming the world around you for when you manifested no mold. And it was like, oh, well, here's something that you don't see. You actually already have mold in your house. There is already mold there. One day I will draw your attention to it. This is the divine, right? Or whoever. This is whoever, wherever. Because you're manifesting no mold. This is the one where you write your check, the one that's going to cash it for you or whatever. The one who it's the teller. This is the teller at the bank. You hand them a check for no mold. And they're like, oh, well, it seems like, with their omniscient eye, it seemed that there is already mold in the house. So you haven't noticed it. It's been there. That's kind of why you've been like a little coughy and sick or whatever lately. You thought it was this. It's actually the mold. So what we're going to do is one day you're going to be making a sandwich or whatever. You're going to be in the kitchen by the refrigerator for some reason. And we will, for some mysterious reason, draw your eye to it. Have you ever looked at something for no particular reason? And then maybe you notice 11:11 on the clock. I don't even know why I looked over there at that exact time. My eye was just drawn to it. It's that kind of synchronicity. But instead of it being like an angel number and something that makes you feel amazing, it's the thing that you don't want to see. The mold is brought to your attention and you go, well, I wrote a check for no mold. So current spiritual practices tell me to avoid the refrigerator, to not go back there, to tape it off, to black it out. There is no mold, there is no mold, there is no mold, to repeat my mantra over and over and over until I delude myself into believing that there is no mold. And then you notice that it spreads. You've been avoiding, and I've been avoiding the refrigerator. I haven't gone in the kitchen for months at this point in time. I'm all the way at the other side of the house. I don't know why I'm seeing mold here. And it's because when you don't address it, it grows, it festers in the darkness it's like how a watched pot never boils. So by paying attention to it, sometimes even it slows it down. But as soon as you turn away, it's I was just looking at it 2 seconds ago. How did it get this bad this quickly? Don't close your eyes, don't blink, or it'll get you. And then you blink and you end up in 1972 or 1864, or who knows when. It's the angels, the weeping angels from Doctor Who anyway. It's like that energy. It grows. There are some things that grow when we ignore them and we box ourselves into corners. And again, it goes back to, I feel like in general, it seems that we're better equipped to go looking for trouble than we are to actually resolve it and work through it and to heal it. Or if it is, it's just face it, address it, heal it. What does that mean? No, it means nothing until you do it. But anyway, let's see. Who is remote piloting? What is this mystical shaman? Who can I? Oh. Ooh! Cool. That was interesting. So basically, it's this energy. It's There are things that have been asked for. There are things that have been manifested on because of Dolores Cannon and her three waves, because of the rise of pop twin flame spirituality, because shadow work being a hot buzzword and everyone's on CoStar now. It's actually done us a favor of, if nothing else, it's united us in what we ask for, regardless of if we are individually and collectively moving in those ways, because collectives are made up of individuals, right? We can say the collective of people who this or the collective of people who that, but it's just the mass of individuals who do that. Like the collective of people with blonde hair. Like it's made up of people with blonde hair. You know what I mean? It's not like its own thing anyway. I feel like I'm whatever, but we've collectively, loudly, clearly enough asked for certain things, and it was heard. And again, I feel like we're not always as prepared. I don't even know if it's a matter of preparation or if it's a matter of perspective. It's almost giving me that coyote energy again with the smoky mirror. Like sometimes we can't see that a challenge or difficulty or that something occurring in our life is actually getting us where we're going. Or it's a prerequisite preliminary step. It's like it's step one in a 5-step plan. And so we just like, we ditch it, we abandon it. It's like who Winston Churchill, when you're going through hell, keep going. Because if you stop, then you're in hell, right? Hey, Perry, how are you doing today? Let's see. The Sweat Lodge in reverse with completion upright. Let's go. It's time to get up the steam. What happens when you're in the Sweat Lodge and you open the door? Does like all of the fog and steam run out and then there's clarity? Is that the eagle up in the sky? The eagle of cleansing waters? Or the eagle of clarifying water? It was the smoky mirror of the eagle in water. It's like it's a pool of water. So there are still ripples, but now you can see. Your reflection shows who you are inside. Sometimes our reflection shows who we are inside, and we don't like it. And we go, that's a projection. You're projecting on me. And it's like, girl, no. I think that part of the video stayed in. That's Anubis' scales. Anubis doesn't judge anything. Anubis takes your heart, puts it on the scale, puts the feather on the other end of the scale, and then presents you with the prompt. Your heart will now be judged. If it's lighter than the feather, you get to go to heaven. If it's heavier than a feather, you get to acquaint yourself with the inside of a gator's belly. But it's like Anubis never says that he'll be doing the judging. We judge ourselves. It's our own guilt. It's our own whatever. And it's like subsequently, it's our ability to either work through it and to relieve ourselves of it, or to ignore it and let it eat us alive, or whatever it does. I don't know. Who knows? So, and then there's the Jaguar with the journey. They literally came out below the lower world. The Jaguar, the journey, the staff. The staff and the rattle, because of the magician and the fairy tale, they take on a new meaning. The staff does all of the staff is like the rainmaker, almost. The staff would be the rainmaker. The rattle would be taming the wind. And the focus would be water, maybe. I don't know. What is beyond those? The wind? The heart of the sky, maybe? Let's just get one card. Why not? So yeah, I might just do. And again, like that's what I was saying. I don't know if I completed the thought. No one has never, well, no one's necessarily been like, well, what does this mean? Like, can you make this, like, can you ground this? I'm just like, well, what does this mean? Can I ground this? I'll see an energy and I'll be like, well, people are going to people. So this energy is really beautiful. This energy is gorgeous. But we ourselves make choices and decisions to align with energies and more than just word and more than just manifested thought, but in action. We prepare the 3D to receive our manifestation. We create the space. We make ourselves ready. We do the nesting. And there are some manifestations, it's like, I am not, like they want me to go where? Manifestation is like, so let me get this straight. I'm your manifestation. I'm amazing. I'm literally everything that you wanted, right? So I'm amazing. And you want me to do what? You want me to go where? It's like, you don't even have room for me. Like, you don't even have space. Like, you want me to go all this way, to travel all of this distance from the furthest edges of the ethereal and energetic. You want me to brace myself, shake, rattle, and roll through the atmosphere of your middle world 3D reality. You want me to get real, real, real dense and tiny and small so that you can hold me in your hand. And then you're going to throw me away, and then you're going to not even like come and pick me up. So you want me to show up, sit on your porch until I'm all rainy, wet, and moldy like the inside of your house? No, no, no. But when you have space, when it's clean and ready, like let me know. Then we'll talk. Lightning. Okay, all right. I mean, there is sometimes lightning when there is rain, and taming the wind will produce lightning. Wow. Hey, David, how you doing today? Wow. Okay. All right. Lightning in the medicine wheel. Cool. So anyway, I guess long story short, yeah, maybe I'll just like read it and I'll give my standard, take it as it resonates. If it resonates, apply this how it applies for you. I'm just reading energy because I like reading energy. I like tapping it. Well, yeah, I like reading it. I like tapping into it. I like not like fresh approaches, but it's like when it gets stale, then I'm like, you know what I mean? Like that part of the spiritual whatever, I'm down for. And I don't always have to 3D it make sense, or try to make it make sense, or I don't have to do that because like I can trust. Maybe I'll put that in my description box. Everything that I do and say on this channel, what we receive, it comes through the filter of trusting that you will take what resonates for you. Because at the end of the day, again, like it's not my job to interpret anything for anybody. It's not my job to apply information that may come up. It's not my job to delineate for anyone what resonates for them and what doesn't resonate for them. Even if I do like personal readings, right? If I do a personal reading, like this is something that I see. We're sitting here together. You are where you are going where you're going, or you are inquiring about whatever you're inquiring about. With the limitations of our knowledge, understanding, and with the limitations of what we know and what we are allowed to know right now, this is the energy. This is what's happening. This is what's going on. Now, if later, like you come into more information, you grow, you heal, you change, you evolve, something different happens that gives you an understanding or a perspective that you didn't have at the time that we sat down. So now that the same words, the same readings, the same cards, the same energy, because you know more, because you can grasp more, you now see in a different way. Entirely possible, right? But yeah. And again, it's like, it's nobody's job but our own. And I also trust, I guess I trust that anyone that's led and guided to this channel, like that's what I'm operating. Those are maybe I should make a video. Ooh, because I don't have a channel welcome video. Maybe I'll make a video and I'll make it my channel welcome video. These are the assumptions that I'm operating under on this channel. If they apply, welcome. If they don't, there are other resources that may better suit you and serve you and get you along your way. Take it as a resonate. Let me if it don't fit, don't make it. Don't make it fit. Be able to discern what is actually for you. Be self-aware enough to know when an energy that I'm reading may actually be you, and it ain't the person that you think you're dealing with that ain't even dealing with you. Like you holding doors open for folk that been done, moved on and moved in with somebody else, believing that they'll come back. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. But it's like, in one way, it may seem sinister. And for some, maybe there are some people who prey upon our desires and who keep us more so enfeebled and whatever. But at the end of the day, again, it's up to us to be able to discern and to decide for ourselves. Like, is that not what it means to be sovereign? Is that not what it means to be empowered? Is that not what it means to be the gods that we claim to be and the goddesses? But as soon as ish go down, as soon as something starts to happen, we're reminded of the babes that we are, that we're just children. Oh my gosh. I'm about to put this down. The sun and the holy mountain. And look, there's a rainmaker. And yeah, I don't, it is what it is. And I don't have to be see, I got too much, I'm too stubborn for that. I like to say I got too much Taurus in my chart for that, but I don't necessarily believe that the world is entitled to anything that I have to give and anything that I have to offer. I don't feel, and I've said this before, I don't feel that I'm duty bound. I don't feel purpose bound. I don't feel mission bound to do anything for the world. I don't. It's not my job to do stuff for other people, especially, I don't know if it's because, maybe this is a little Queen of Swords in reverse. But it's not my job to be so much for a world that is sometimes nothing for me. And it certainly isn't my job to be anything for a world that has proven through experiences that it is not for me, that it cares not for me or about me, where I'm constantly reminded that I am a single, insignificant, nothing would stop or change without me. So what do I owe a world? What do I owe that world? I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't buy into it. I don't subscribe to it. It's not my path. It's not my journey. Anything that I do out of the kindness of my heart. But I don't feel obligated to do it. But again, it's just like, it's not my gig. It's not my, I don't subscribe to, like, I'm not here for some grand purpose or for some greater reason. I'm not here while Earth is going through this major whatever. Like, when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, I'm the dude who just showed up. You know what I mean? I'm the person that's like, oh, I feel like going over here today. And like, oh, what? There's some flash mob. What? That's crazy. I didn't even know that was happening. Everyone else is here for a purpose and for a reason. Patrick is here. And if Patrick sees, like, obviously, like, I care about people and I have a heart, but I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded. I don't feel that people are entitled to my love, care. Like, I don't think that's a good way to word it. Because I believe that we all deserve compassion and kindness and understanding. I don't feel that others are so entitled to compassion, kindness, and understanding that even if I'm mistreated or even if I'm disregarded, that I have to be the bigger person. I don't believe that we are entitled to any more than we do or give one another. Am I required? Do I feel a moral obligation, an ethical impulse to provide the shirt off of my back for someone who would stab me in mine? No, I don't. And there's no amount of anything that will change my mind, because we are all here on a journey of living our lives and having our experiences, and we can choose to not grow. We can choose to be evil. We can choose to do cruel things. And I am making the choice as best I can in my life to not align to people who would do that and be that. You know what I mean? Like, I want the good experiences. I want to align to the people who wouldn't do that, even if they could. You know what I mean? I'm not that ain't me. I'm not one of those starseed girlies that are here to make everything like sunshine and rainbows and better. I'm here living my life like there's a whole bunch of other people living their lives. And if I feel like doing good, I do it. Okay. I mean, obviously, I didn't have to take it in the way that it was written, but that's truly, genuinely, honestly, like, I don't resonate to that for me. Like I said, I'm not here purpose bound, duty bound, or mission bound. I don't think it's my job as a light worker to be on here reading energy and empowering you to do whatever. I feel like it's my job as like someone who wants to live in a world, like, that is my desire for the world. That is what I manifest for the world. I manifest a world, I manifest a life where we are all kind, caring, and compassionate, where we can have the capacity to show up for one another in action and in deed and more than just word, where we can minorly inconvenience ourselves for the comfort and safety of another, and to not be so selfish and self-centered that that is the limitation of how much we care. Oh, I love you and I care about you, but if I can't get to work on time, why are you protesting? Oh, I love you and I care about you, but if you being treated like a human being means that I have to pay more in taxes or make less money, then sorry, no. Like, oh, I'm not this, but I'll support the guy who is for it as long as it helps my bottom dollar. It was like, yeah, no. No, that you can keep it. The world has shown me enough that it doesn't deserve. And we all believe, because we're born here, that we are entitled to things. You are entitled to the air that you breathe. And then even then, somebody else can make the choice to take it. Yeah. And again, like, I know that that's not how you meant it, but that's just another thing that I see that floats that I don't resonate to. It's not for me. I'm not saying that there aren't people out there who it is their purpose and duty and mission. I believe it. It's just not mine. Which is, again, like, I don't want to be anyone's hierophant. I don't want to be anyone's healer. Like, if I see someone who is hurting and I believe I have the capacity or capability to help them in some way, will I help them? Of course. Right. But also at the same time, I ain't take no Hippocratic oath. In the same breath, again, I don't feel like it's my job to fix or help or heal something or someone that will just turn around and hurt many, many, many more after. That's the job of the doctor, I guess, who took that Hippocratic oath. Because, yeah, you still deserve it. And all of the mistakes that we make and all of the evils that we may or may not do. It is the job of the doctors and the divine to care for you, not Patrick. Oof. Oh, I'm just pulling cards. The medicine wheel, the witness, the luminous warrior, and the beloved. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. And again, that's just like, but for me as someone, and maybe that's one reason why it's like, because I don't personally resonate to it. And as far as I know, I haven't made the claim that that's what I'm here to do. And that's why I incarnated on this earth. That's why it's like, for me, it's almost like to me, like as someone who isn't a doctor, if as someone who isn't a doctor, but someone who generally and genuinely, but ultimately generally cares about people, like if I see medicines that don't work or doctors who aren't healing but that are hurting, then I'm like, I'm not even a doctor. This isn't my job. This isn't my calling. This isn't my profession. But like, shouldn't you be helping the people? Right? Like it takes all kinds of people to make the world turn and work. Like, and you're supposed to be the one that like helps people. So like, shouldn't you be helping people? And that's when I'll get on here and I was like, sometimes I don't think the beliefs or the way that we are, it seems that we're walking spiritual paths in general is actually conducive to healthy spiritual being. It seems like manifesting, hoping for spiritual traps and finding ourselves imprisoned in them until some new new deck or crystal or card or whatever, or some new Hierophant comes to like break us out and break us free. But it's the Hierophant's job to connect us to the divine that's within us. And if we are connected to the divine that's within us, there are no prisons that can hold us. The giveaway. The thunder, to give away thunder. Is this giving away power? No, I'm kidding. What are we giving away? Let's do what we're giving away and what we receive. So what are we giving away? Ooh, that's a whole bunch of cards. I said I was kidding about us giving away. Oh, well, maybe not, maybe not. Oh, well, maybe. We're giving away the staff. We're giving away lightning. And we're giving away earth. What do we receive? What are we receiving? Ooh. 2 cards that fell face down on top of staff. Do we receive 2 things when we give away the staff? The soul retrieval, or soul retrieval and the witness. Okay, I like this one. We give away the staff, we receive soul retrieval and the witness. So that to me is giving heavy initiation energy, but it's like monitored. It's like a proficiency test, like a final, a graduation exam. We give away lightning. We receive the smoky mirror. I'll take it. Fire is at the bottom of the deck. If we give away lightning, we receive the smoky mirror and fire. The smoky mirror, I take it because like, so Avatar: The Last Airbender, people who like lightning is a specialization of fire. If you, all lightning benders are fire benders, but not all fire benders are capable of bending lightning. Now, some can be taught to redirect lightning, so they may not like generate it and produce it within themselves, but they can redirect it if it like comes their way. And it pulls upon principles of the different benders. Water, air, and earth. Well, I don't water and air more so, but yeah, I don't remember the full episode, but through water bending, air bending, and earth bending, for the natural fire bender, they can learn to redirect lightning. And you ain't got to be the Avatar in Avatar: The Last Airbender to learn something from the other nations. If there was one character in that entire franchise, both Aang and Korra, Uncle Iroh would have been the one to say that, and he did. I mean, he didn't necessarily say you don't have to be the Avatar to learn from the airbenders and to learn from the earthbenders and to learn from the waterbenders, but he did, and that's how he learned to redirect lightning, and then he taught Zuko. But it feels like when we give away lightning, like we lose. It feels like there's clarity in lightning. It feels like there is direction and purpose in lightning. Like lightning strikes and lightning arcs, but fire just like spreads. It's like fire, as it spreads, it widens itself, but lightning, as it spreads, it like travels. If that makes sense. Now, obviously, lightning can cause a fire. I don't know. It feels like something is like dispersed when we give away lightning. And I guess the only question would be if we're able to recollect, if we're able to bring it all back together. Because it's almost like to disperse lightning is to like turn on the sun to be able to see. It's like a spotlight that gets wider and wider and wider so that we can see. But I guess the smokiness of this mirror really comes in where it's almost like it's not necessarily a question of whether or not we can see where it originated from. Maybe it's just a question as simple as like, can we understand the reason behind our seeing? Or do we get lost in what we see? Do we get consumed by the image to the point where we forget that it's a movie that we're watching? You know what I mean? Can we see what really matters and prioritize ourselves and align ourselves in a way? What matters to us, right? The earth. We give away the earth. We receive, hopefully we get something, because sometimes we'll be too keen to give away the earth, and then it's like, well, what are you going to get? You just gave away everything for no guarantee. It also depends on who you give it to, right? If you give the earth away to the divine, maybe you get heaven on earth. If you give the earth away to the less than divine, if you give the earth away to humans, and that's what Hierophants are. Hierophants are humans. Hierophants are still people. As long as they haven't crossed the veil and the threshold, oof. You give away the earth, you get the sacrifice in the middle world. If you give away the earth, you sacrifice earth. It's almost like you give it away for free, you don't get anything back. And maybe that's something, it's almost like, maybe that's one way that like Ascension in 5D, New Earth doesn't help us. Because we believe we're going to get another one, right? So like imagine that you are someone and you have a car. Let's say you're a kid, right? You're 16, at least in the US. You just got your license. You got a car. You know that your parents can afford to get you something new. Or you know that your parents can afford to get you what you want. Let's say on your 16th birthday, you get what you want, but then there's a new car that comes out and you really want that one. And you ask your parents and they say no. And you're like, well, if I wreck my car, then they have to buy me a new one, right? So you go and you wreck your car because you know that your parents will give you a new one, but they don't. Now you wrecked your car. Depending on how much you totaled it, maybe you can salvage it so that you can still, at least get around. But if you total that car and it's not drivable, it's not functional, and you don't get a new car, it's almost like, congratulations, you played yourself. And like, that's new, that's the 5D, that's new earth. It's like, it's not necessarily guaranteed that we will be given a new earth if we allow the one that we're in and on to fall into ruin. But it's almost like approached in that way. So we wreck our car and we allow others to come and like beat it up. We put the car on the train tracks and we it's this whole montage because we are so convinced that we're going to get a new car. We go like balls to the wall extreme, park it on the tracks, drive it off the cliff, put it at the bottom of the ocean. And then we then you bring your car back to your parents and you're like, something happened to my car. Like, now you have to buy me that new one that I really want. And they're like, no, we actually don't have to buy. We didn't have to buy you that car. That car was a gift that we had a conversation with you about, a gift that you said you really wanted, a gift that you said you cherish. And if this is something that you do to something that you cherish, who's to say that there won't be a new car next year or a new car the year after that? Where does it stop? When does it end? New Earth, 5D, ascended Earth could be the Earth that we inherit because of the work that we put into it. I mean, obviously, I don't know anything. Maybe we do all of a sudden just wake up on a new Earth one day. Those who have passed Judgment Day just wake up on new Earth and everything, like the air kind of tastes like cotton candy and the sun is always the perfect temperature and everyone's nice. But like with the sacrifice in the middle world, you give away Earth and you just you give away Earth and you just gave away Earth. It's like it's so detached from the world that it claims to serve. It can be so detached from the world that it claims to serve. And it's like, well, if Earth falls apart, well, my intergalactic star family are going to take me back to the Pleiades anyway. So, And it's like, girl, and it's like, you're what they sent to like save the Earth. Our hope and salvation for the Earth is someone who cares enough about it that they prefer to just leave and like watch it burn. Or someone, it's like, you're going to go and wreck the car. Okay. And then you take the car to the mechanic so the person who doesn't get the new car, they take the car to the mechanic and the mechanic is looking at the car and the mechanic is like, oh, so like, I see what's happening here. You're trying to destroy the car because there's like none of the damage on this car is natural. This damage is intentional. So we'll look at it for you and we'll give it back in better condition than you gave it to us. And they dismantle the car. Now, at least if you could sit in it and be a little dented and crushed or whatever, now it's nuts and bolts and pieces and sheets of metal because the mechanic saw what you were doing and like ran with it. Actions speak louder than words. Sometimes action speaks louder than intention. Now, if this all played together, I would revisit the staff and soul retrieval. This would be the realization that we're not getting a new car. So what do we do? And here's the witness. The witness is the parent, right? So we have this. We have the lightning that disperses It's the all that becomes many souls. It's who you are at a soul level versus, like you go through the veil of forgetfulness, who you are as a person, even though your soul is whatever. You are your soul's distilled lightning. You are the fire, the soul, like the capital S soul is the lightning. Your soul, lowercase s, is the fire. And then who you are is, So we're going to revisit this. And I feel like there's a way that this can play out. Like maybe we do the right thing. Maybe now we come back to the staff and we go through the steps that we need to make the car drivable again. We make it drivable again. It looks worse than it did before, but maybe at this point we're so grateful and appreciative to have a car. And then maybe the witness is like, okay, we were afraid that you would trash car after car after car after car after car after car after car. So you went through your metaphorical dark night of, that was my one and only car. I'll never get another one. Oh my gosh. Or you go through your rage of, my parents can afford it. I can't believe they didn't buy me a new car. Like, why do they hate me? Like, somebody else has this new car. Why don't I have this car? I know that they can afford it. Like, I know you can afford it. Give me a car. Or there's a range of emotions and experiences. But it feels like there's a potential where it's like, now that you know how to appreciate things, here's something of value that we trust, like you with, right? Maybe you could have sold the car. Maybe you could have not wrecked the car, maintained it, like really cleaned it up and sold it to get at least a portion of the money back, and then made up the difference to get what you want, right? Instead of just trashing it and assuming like, oh, well, my parents can afford it and they love me and I always get what I want. So of course they're going to buy me that super hyper expensive, uber expensive new car that I want, when they just bought you a crazy expensive car and you wrecked it. I feel like even if in this, how the energy is reading to me, the cost of the car isn't the issue. The money isn't the issue. Your parents know. The parents know that they can provide the car. The kid knows that they can provide the car. Everyone knows that a new car, what the kid wants now, the latest, hottest, whatever, can be purchased. But so maybe that's the thing that maybe like this is the seer and the coyote a little bit, seeing behind the scenes a little bit, right? I wonder if the teen would be able to be like, I know that they can like buy me a new car. And like, they know that I know because they got me this one. And like, I'm not dumb. Like, if they couldn't, then I wouldn't have done that. So maybe there's a reason why, even though they could give me a new car, maybe there's a reason why, okay, I kind of like this. Maybe there's a reason why they haven't bought me a new car. And then this is the smart teen. Smart. This is the wise beyond their years teen, even though they just did something really dumb. And they're like, well, what could possibly be the reason why they're not like getting me this car? And then maybe they think back and they're like, because they think back on the things that the parents got them. It's like, well, when I wanted a pony, they gave me a pony. And then it's like, well, before like they gave me the pony, I had like a plant or something. Not to say that plants aren't also living creatures that need to be cared for. You know what I mean? I'm personally more for plants than I am for animals. I love plants. I got a plant soul. Herbal. Flora. I'm all about the flora. The fauna, they can take care of themselves. When it comes to the fauna, it's the circle of life, girl. Don't get attached to the zebra because lions got to eat too. Gary the Gazelle, shout out to Community Channel. Woo, here's a pack of salmon, mate. It's like, well, before I got the pony, like I had to do something else. And they told me it was to I can't even remember why. Maybe it was something about like responsibility. Oh, and then it's like, that's why. So that's being good for goodness sake. It's like, okay, I understand now what they want from me. And to get what I want, I am going to fix up my car and I'm going to change my attitude and I'm going to, maybe I'll huff and puff and grab an onion and cry a little bit. But it's like, I understand what I did wrong and I get it, you know? I think I'm ready for that new car. And they're like, we know you get it, even though you don't. We know you do. Well, we'll see, because I want to see how this turns out. The Gatherer. Ooh. The Gatherer and the Corn. Yeah, I think they get it. That's what's witnessed. So this is what's witnessed. How does it play out? Ooh, they're coming. Ooh, the Tree of Life. I love how I'm like, I have a plant soul. I'm more about the flora. And then we get the Gatherer, the corn, the tree. And I love this because, again, if the middle world is the car, when we gave up Earth, when we gave away Earth, we received the sacrifice of the middle world. But now that we've cleaned up our behavior, it ends in the world tree. And I guess I shouldn't have been surprised because, hello, ding, 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 the soul retrieval and the witness. I think I was focused more primarily on the witness than the soul retrieval. But the witness is witnessing the soul retrieval. We're gathering the corn. We get the Tree of Life. Cool. What's at the bottom of the deck? The lower world. Now, why is the lower world at the bottom of the deck? What's going on in the lower world? Hello? The lower world said, R.I.P. We lost another good one. We lost another Eleanor Shellstrop that became a good person. Darn it. How are we going to use people to torment people now? Never mind, it's fine. Spoilers. I know the show's been off the air for a little bit, but I just finished it like a few months ago. Last year for sure. All right, why is this lower world down here all of a sudden? Hello? So I'm over here feeling good. I'm like, there we go. Ooh, the blade came out face up. The child and the luminous warrior in reverse. So this feels like, it reads like a final test, right? So the parents in the story see that we are taking care of our car. We learned our lesson, right? And we're not just going to wreck our cars because we believe we're going to get a new one. So we do what we need to do to mend it, cultivate it, take care of it, to provide for it, to sustain it. We do more than that. We go the extra mile and we see it flourish and thrive and really grow. And it's because of that they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you a whole Tree of Life, bro. And then here's the lower world. I'm like, well, why is the lower world here? Reads in the cards like a test. It's the blade and then the child and the luminous warrior. It's like the blade. This is the thing that literally separates the child from the luminous warrior. The one who really appreciates. So like going back to the metaphor, it's the new thing. You get the new car, you're driving it, you're loving it, you've worked so hard for it. And then Mike, it's like right after you get it, there's another car with even more bells and whistles that's even fancier than the last one. Like it's a quantum, like the difference between the car that you had and this car pales in comparison to the car that you have now, the new thing. And it's like, what do? Do you wreck this car? Like, do you do what you literally just did? Do you wreck your car knowing that, okay, like, I know that like last time I had to jump through hoops to get this car, but ultimately at the end of the day, I knew that my parents would buy me a new car, and they did. And I want that one now. Like, I could wreck it. This is like when the shadow comes up and it's like, wreck your car, wreck your car. It ultimately ended up working out fine this time, right? Just wreck it. The child will wreck the car. The luminous warrior won't. The luminous warrior could do a number of things. The luminous warrior could, again, like sell the car and make up the difference. The luminous warrior could bargain. Like, oh, well, I have a sibling, and that sibling is going to come of age now, and maybe like you're going to have to get them a car anyway, and they always talk about how they love this car, so we could give them this car and you could get me the new car. There are a multitude of ways that the luminous warrior can go about it. Or the luminous warrior can be like, you know what? Bells and whistles are nice, but I like this, Again, primarily the key difference is that the luminous warrior isn't going to wreck the car and do like whatever the lower world is hoping for, it won't come to be. But again, that's why the blade is here. It literally separates the children from the luminous warriors, because the children will wreck the car again and the luminous warrior won't. So cool. I fulfilled my time obligation of at least 2 hours. What time is it? I need to eat some more. I ain't drank no water this whole time. And I worked so hard to make sure that it was full. I just been on it. Imagine though. Imagine doomsday scenario situation. Don't think too hard because we're already seeing it. But now imagine it in your neighborhood. Maybe that'll get folks to care. But it's like we're already seeing it. I mean, I don't know. It's like imagine like getting to the literal end of the world, being so convinced that at some moment we were going to be raptured, or the skies would part or split, or the solar flare would erupt and envelop the earth in a golden light that would just shift it and transform it into this new earth or whatever. But imagine it doesn't happen. And we're like, where's 5D Earth? Like, we did the ascension thing. Like, why is this the outcome? And then it's like, who said that you were getting anything like different or getting anything new? If you would have read the terms and conditions on your contract, you would have realized that it was like a renovation type thing. But I mean, in order to renovate the place, there kind of has to like be a place. You didn't get the premium plus package of constructing from the ground up something new. So at the very least, you have to keep the bones of it like alive. We got enough time, energy, and resources that we can divert to, can we knock down some walls? Yeah. We can do everything more superficial above base. But we don't have the tools and resources, time and energy and effort to make a whole new foundation. You were supposed to like keep up with the foundation. Excuse me. You were supposed to hire a third party, or you were supposed to hire the inspector, make sure that the foundation matches what we require in order to get this service that you booked. And if it's non-refundable, because they're like, it's not our fault that you didn't hold up your end of the bargain. We reiterated and made plain and made clear in the conditions of your agreement, you were to see to the foundation, you were to get the inspection, and if anything wasn't up to par, it was your job, duty, and responsibility to bring it up to snuff before we got here. And we just completed our inspection. Obviously, at some point, something didn't happen. So, yeah, we're not going to be able to do it. And you're still going to compensate us for our time. Congratulations. You wasted your own money. We still get paid, girl. We don't too much care. Like the heavens are heavensing, the angels are angelsing, the divine is divining, and it's like you got free will. That's you using that free will that, oh, you sovereign, you got this. You're empowered, you got this. And again, it's just like, if we are these things, let's be these things. And let's be these things for good reason and with good intentions and with good purpose. Like, again, like I don't even claim, I don't I don't claim none of that. But for those whose mission it is to like be there for people who are doctors, I at least hope that I can trust the doctor to do their best to save and help and heal their patients. And, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what works and what doesn't work. What may look like pain and torture to me may ultimately be the exact salve that someone needed. The violent and visceral reaction was the purging that had to happen. Right? Maybe after the squirming and the pain, someone would be like, oh my gosh, I felt so much better. Yeah, it hurt like a summer bee when it came out. But now that it's out, I got a new lease on life. Too many cards. We got the middle world, the journey, and the eagle. Bottom of the deck is the arrow. The arrow has been at the bottom of the deck for a hot minute. Could the arrow be Sagittarius? Could that be my North Node in Sagittarius? It could be. This ain't about me. The arrow is your North Node in Sagittarius. That's how this works, right? Oh, I got it. I don't know if you saw it. Probably not. This card like jumped up and went back in the deck. Oh. Ooh, hold up. We're just bringing this thing full circle, aren't we? Okay, so the middle world, the journey, and the eagle all came out, right? The middle world is Earth. It's the 3D. The middle world is the car. The tree of life was the car that we like, the new shiny car that we want, right? There are many ways to get that new and shiny car, and they take various lengths of time. Some of them definitely more illegal than others. And if you choose illegal pathways and you are called in front of the judge and you have to face judgment, you made the choice, you did the crime, now pay the time. Because nobody told you to go out there and wreck the car. Just because you thought you wouldn't have got caught or you thought you would have got a new one, that was your choice. We have free will, we have choice, but we are not necessarily free from consequences and repercussions. Choice means nothing if it's like consequences make choices matter, right? Imagine playing a game and no matter what you choose, you get the same outcome. You may feel like, wow, I'm not actually making any choices because no matter what happens, this is the game. In order for choice to be choice, consequence has to be real. Because otherwise, what are you choosing? Right? Anyway, we don't have to go that pathway. Basically, long story short. We don't have to wreck it. There are other ways. So then I'm like, well, let's see what's happening. Let's see where this is going, right? This like wrapped around. So I'll try to. Oh my gosh. This is Okay, so this could be Sagittarius. Well, a part of it, like the arrow in Sagittarius, but this is Lagoon. I did it like this. I was just gonna like bring it around to make a circle, but it didn't round, so it's just like that. And then the reason why I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Lagoon is because yesterday I asked the question of what happens when we encounter the limitation of our beliefs. Now, the tarot said Ace of Swords, Hanged One, the Hanged One and the Ace of Swords. Our perspective changes and it adapts to accommodate and include this new truth that we've discovered. But Lafruma said heartache. Heartache because we can't flow in the way that we're being directed, or because we can't move to what we know is there. Now, that same heartache flow could be the Hanged One flow that leads to the Ace of Swords being able to be right. It's almost like the flow is the pathway, and either we take it or we don't. Either we're open to it or we aren't. It's like the flow is the river. Either you get in your boat, your canoe, your water jet pack thing, and you follow the river, or you build a dam and shake your fists when it dries up because all the water has run away or something. I don't know. So the card that came out was the owl. Oh, I went live so early that it's not 10 o'clock at night. I love this. I got to go live earlier in the day more often. I still got day left. Anyway, the owl came out, and I was like, I've been seeing the owl. So in my mind, I can't remember if this was before the owl came out or after. I think it was after the owl came out. I see the middle world, the journey, and this eagle. That's why, because it's her. There was this like, it's the heart on the head of this journey that signifies, it's almost like when the heart reaches the crown. But this is a heart that's from root to crown. The heart from the root to the sacral solar, it's home. The third eye, the throat, the crown. I think a lot of times we heart to crown, it's from the heart up. But we forget, again, like we crash the car. We forget about the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. We cast judgment on people who are, oh, they're living from their lower three chakras and they're in the. And it's like, okay, well, if you were in your lower three chakras enough, you may be able to see that obviously there's some stuff that ain't right down here. But with your integrated upper three chakras, you would see the many paths, doorways, and opportunities to make it better. You would see the various ways that the luminous warrior could get that new car without wrecking the one that they have, believing that their parents are going to just buy them a new one. It's a whole thing. You know, we talk about integration and stuff, but it's like, how quick do we leave out the undesirable or the lower? It's a wholeness that's very partial. It's a wholeness that's intentionally partial, but declares itself to be whole. And it's like, how you chopping off the bottom three chakras in your unity, wholeness, whatever, declaring yourself to be whole. But at the same time, girl, like you just chopped off the bottom three chakras. What's whole about that? Anyway, we do it in a lot of ways. The heart, it's the heart on the head that attracts this eagle, or that attracts the owl. Here's the owl. It's the eagle that then grabs this person and moves them from the middle world to the upper world. The eagle, it's like the eagles in Lord of the Rings. It's like, why didn't they just take the Eagles to whatever, and they could have did this and did that, and it would have made the journey a whole lot shorter, because there were cars that needed to be wrecked, lessons that needed to be learned, junkyards that didn't have enough parts and pieces, shady mechanics that were getting their bags until justice came for them. There's a whole lot of stuff that needed to happen for the overall narrative of the story and for the drama, because humans love drama, apparently. I wish there was one show that was absolutely no drama. I know people are like, it would be so boring and nobody would watch it. I want to try, I can't handle TV drama like I used to be able to. Like Riverdale, I could never. I could never. Even now, sometimes I gotta like just end a show mid-episode. If it's too much drama, I end it mid-episode. I'm like, I'll come back to this later. I'm getting stressed. It's like, why? For what? Like, it's drama for the sake of drama. Like, at this point, it ain't even realistic no more. But it's also life. Sometimes life is drama after drama after drama, and it just seems like everything is falling apart. But I need balance, you know what I mean? Anyway, it's fine. The heart in the presence, it's like the owl precedes the eagle. But it's the heart that alerts the eagle to this presence. It alerts the owl. The owl's like, whoo, whoo, we found one. Or the eagle is like, who? And then the owl is like, who? And the eagle's like, who? Like WHO. And the owl's like, who? And it's like, oh my gosh. Why can't it be like parakeets, birds that can speak? Say the name. Woo. Anyway, fine. It's fine. I'm sorry. Little inside joke. We got to find the humor and the levity when we can get it, right? They say a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Well, I say a dab of Tabasco. I'm just playing. It's fine. The eagle, like, this is the person that does the journey in the middle world. The eagle scoops them up. Now, you may say, well, Patrick, if eagle is scooping people up, then is that not a different, like, if the eagle is going to move you from the middle world to the upper world, is that not the 5D new earth? And it's like, it is, but it isn't, but it is. Right? Because this is the new car that you get when you don't wreck the old one. Because if you're going around wrecking cars, obviously you still got some growing to do, and you got a lesson or two that you still need to learn. You know what I mean? You don't just go around wrecking cars when you want a new one. Hello? And it's like, it's the parents who know that they're not going to be around forever. It's the parents who know that although their wealth could be extreme, there are plenty of people who blow through generational wealth within the span of sometimes years, if not months. And it's that parent that's like, if this is how you're behaving, if anything were to happen to us and or the money, you would not be okay. At the very least, we can make you a good enough steward of the money that it'll last throughout your lifetime, and then maybe even you'll build it too for those who come after you. But this whole, just wreck the car and buy the new one, girl, you'll eat through everything. You'll eat through the 10 Pentacles in 10 days because there's always something new. Again, it goes back to that insatiability. So anyway, I see the owl, and I see the standstill, and I see the mystical shaman. Remember when I was like, who's remote piloting that owl? Or who's remote piloting that eagle? This eagle, the eagle that delivers folks from the middle world to wherever they go from the great beyond. Waiting in the standstill. It's like this owl is waiting on standby. As soon as this happens, it's like, now you start to see, if you're seeing owl synchronicities everywhere, the eagle is coming for you. Let me stop. I mean, it might be. We're on our way. Someone's on their way to get you synchronicity. But, trust and believe. it's almost like, so now the metaphor is shifting, right? So now we're in the workplace, right? There's someone who knows that they're in line for a promotion or they're in line for another job, right? But let's say it's a promotion because it simplifies the metaphor. There's someone who's in line for a promotion and they get it and they get offered it and everything. They've signed the contract, and then, they come into work the next day or like the day on their last day in their current position, and they're just like stuck on that, and they're causing messes and they're doing all kinds of stuff because, like, yeah, I got it, suckers, like, I'm out of here. And then, of course, word travels. That's why this is how the metaphor is more simple, because you're working for the same people, you just got promoted. Word travels of all of the property damage and things that you did. You just violated 62 of the 249 codes of conduct. You are unfit for the position. You have shown yourself to be a liability. You are the hare that literally fell asleep at the finish line. Your action choices and behaviors and decisions, you just threw it away. Because it's almost like, and again, it doesn't have to be the case. Maybe this is a thing that I said I would stop doing earlier. Sometimes we get so comfortable in our knowing or belief that the thing is happening that at the last minute, we throw everything away. And it's like, girl, eagle ain't even there yet. Mystical shaman just said, here's your sign and symbol and synchronicity. Owl sees you. Owl has acknowledged you. And if Owl acknowledges you, you're good people. You'll fit in great here, because the owl is actually the most discerning and astute of all of them. Even though the owl comes before the owl is a better judge of character, because the owl moves silently through the night. It's there to witness things that the eagle may not necessarily. The eagle can see you while you out during the day. Yeah, because eagle's out during the day, right? Eagle's like, oh yeah, I see them in the day. Owl is like, okay, but who are they behind closed doors? Who are they really? What's the realty? What is beyond the facade, Owl? And Owl talked to Eagle, and Owl's like, you know what? They're actually pretty solid. And Eagle's like, okay, bet. So in the standstill waiting, we see the mystical shaman ready to send out the eagle. That's why I was like, we don't want to celebrate party too hard too quickly, because it ain't even necessarily guaranteed yet. Which could be another part of the test. And again, it's like there are energies that are coming through as tests, but they're not. Like, that's why it separates, like before the other example, the new car. You work so hard to win your parents' trust, and now they get you that new car. Now there's another new car. You literally just did all this work, and there's like a few days later, you didn't even get a week at the top of your whatever before there was something new that you had to get. I mean, it's a test for the children, but for the luminous warrior, it's just like, it's not. That's why it's like it separates the child from a luminous warrior, but it's like, to the child, again, it would read as a test, but it's not a test. It's life. There's always going to be something new. And that's what the parents know. The parents know life. It's like there's going to be another new car and another new car and another new car. And we are not about to reward this destructive behavior, number one, or even make it, like, deem it acceptable for two. So anyway, now we have, of course, the Holy Mountain. I guess that's where I don't know if it's almost like mystical shaman is like up here, and then the eagle is like here, and then the eagle has to travel from here to the Holy Mountain. But because, like, we see the eagle in this yellow circle, and here's the yellow circle, I'm just assuming that this is where mystical shaman is. This is also giving me, remember when it was like, you are navigating your life in such a way that your guardian angel is making its reports, and somebody big is like, what? They're down there doing what? Like, they about it. They're luminous warriors down there amongst the children. It's like, okay, you didn't wreck this car. He was like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. I was talking to, your friend and your other friends. Like, I've been talking to all the parents, and like, let's say that this is the parent of the person, of a child. This is a parent of a child who was friends with the one that wrecked their car or whatever, but they're younger. So they're like, I was talking to the other, or maybe this is the two parents talking to each other. One parent says to the other parent, like, like, child is getting to be that age where they're gonna, start driving and stuff like that. And like, every like we can afford it and everyone else has a car and they're gonna be expecting a vehicle. And then the other friend's like, yeah, they've already been talking to me about one that they really like, and I got this really good deal, and like it's already taken care of. Like, don't even worry about it. And the parent's like, okay, well, all right. And then maybe they talk about, well, like it's a thing in the neighborhood apparently that kids are wrecking cars to get new vehicles because I don't know, it's a thing that kids do when they come of age, and like we want our child to be different. Maybe this is a family that like created their wealth instead of one that inherited it. For the sake of the metaphor, for the sake of simplicity, they have a different understanding of that level of wealth than someone who's like always had it. Not to say that someone who's always had it can't appreciate it, because that is obviously not the case. But again, it makes it simple with a metaphor. They're like, this happens. Apparently, they start wrecking their cars to get new cars because they know that we can afford it. And they're like, they what? The other fan is like, they what? Yeah, no. They're like, they have a better car than I do. I'm still driving my first car and we just got them that. Like, and they're gonna wreck it if something else comes along. So maybe they watch. Maybe they watch and they wait and they see if their child will fall into the same behavioral patterns that all their friends do, because if all their friends are doing it, if everyone that they know is doing it, then that's all they know. So they think it's okay or whatever. Although, the parents do their best to raise their children to be them and to not be like everybody else or whatever. So it's like, it's that moment where it's like, where the parent gets to see their child in that situation make a choice. And maybe the parents are like, we know that like our kid wouldn't just wreck stuff because, our kid is as new to this money as we are, but we want them to fit in. So, we do the things that other parents do, and we, you know, just so that they're not teased or bullied, because this is where we are in life now. And we play the game when we have to. But also, we can be grounded. We ain't ditch our lower three chakras, so we can appreciate the value of like hard work. And we can appreciate that things take time to ripen and mature naturally. Very like root chakra, sacral chakra. Like we can appreciate that stuff. And we can appreciate, or we know what it takes as individuals to align ourselves to that. Solar plexus chakra. Because as powerful in whatever as the upper three are, they are not grounded at all. Because literally the bottom three ground. I wonder if that's why. Anyway, it's fine. All right, yeah, I wonder if that's why. Because it'll be like this is happening energetically and that's happening energetically, and it may be hard to ground and do this and do that. And it's like, well, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if someone who didn't have a root chakra found it difficult to ground. I wouldn't be surprised if someone who abandoned their root chakra or under prioritized their root chakra found it difficult to ground, because it's like, girl, like you were literally given that tool to do that. Hey Hennessy, how you doing? So anyway, here's the holy mountain, and we have the many paths. And I'm like, okay. So many paths, the rainmaker, the luminous warrior, and taming the wind. This is giving because again, the rainmaker was the staff, the taming the wind was the rattle. In this many path scenario and situation, the luminous warrior is here. Those parents find that their child is maybe their kid has a friend And the friend is like, oh, like there's this new car coming out. And like, we're all going to get it. I'm going to get it in this color. They're going to get it in another color. Like, we think you should get it in this color. And then we can all like drive around town and, show people how much money we have. I don't know, And they're like, yeah, but like, this is the kid. This is this kid here. The one that gets scooped. Like, he's like, yeah, but I just got this car, and I kind of like it. Like, I'm kind of, and they're like, yeah, but like, like, don't be whatever. Just like get the car and like get it in that color so we can all go and look whatever together. Like, don't you want to be like, don't you want to fit in? Don't you want friends? Whatever, various degrees. It's a metaphor. Take it as it resonates to the degree that it resonates. And if it don't take it. And they're like, okay, but like, how would I even like I just got this car. How would I even get it? Like they're like resigning, and they're like, oh, just like wreck your car. Like, that's what we all did. Just wreck your car, and then your parents will buy you a new one. And this is where like this kid is like, what? You want me to total my car to force my parents to buy me a new one? Okay. Well, I know my parents, and my parents are not about to just buy me a new car. So I am not going to do that. Now, maybe the kid tells the other kids, like, I'm not going to do that. Maybe they just like think it. Maybe they walk away and then they're like, yeah, I am not about to wreck my car because I know my parents. And like, again, because when I extended the metaphor before, it was that like when I wanted a pony, my parents made me do this to prove that I was responsible. My parents helped me acclimate to the responsibility of caring for a living being by having me do this and having me do that. So I already know my parents. I don't know what's going on over there, but I know my situation and my parents. I know that if I wreck this car, they are not going to buy me a new one. So I'm not going to do that. Now this luminous warrior thinks of those other ways. Again, many paths, right? And the ways are so numerous, I don't have to name them. But this is the one that immediately comes into the luminosity. This is one of those defining moments. And it's like, again, for the parent, for the parent, like, this is one of those moments where they know that their child can come into their own. It's like it's one of those milestones. And I guess it is and again, like, not everyone can afford whatever. I didn't get a new car. I didn't get a car when I turned 16. I still don't have a car. Now, I could have been, I still don't have a car. I didn't get one when I turned 16, but I know people who did. And I know that it's a thing. Like, I've seen My Sweet 16, MTV, kind of, sort of, some of them. I didn't watch it a lot, but I know it's a thing. People get their license. I also didn't want my license, and I didn't want to drive. But anyway, that's regardless. That's beside the point. They get their license, and then they get a car. I know it's a thing, even though it wasn't my experience, right? So as I'm going through this metaphor, trust and believe, I know. But it's a metaphor, right? Maybe for some it's their experience. Maybe for some it's so beyond their experience, it seems a little whatever, right? Take it if it resonates as it resonates. It's a metaphor for communicating energy. But the parents know that, like, it's a rite of passage to be given a car when your kid comes of age. And it's one of those steps into adulthood where if they have a car, they have a little bit more agency, right? Eventually, they're going to take themselves to school. Excuse me. They're going to go to the store themselves. They're going to go to the mall or do whatever. Like, now they will drive themselves. There is a level of, like, this is where they start. This is the beginning of them starting and us as their primary influence ending. And at that point, again, you just hope that you've instilled in your child what they need. Now, that's the child that impresses them. Maybe the child is like, hey, so This is what's going on. I know, like, I'm not gonna wreck my car because I already know that if I wreck it, I'm not gonna get another one. Honestly, I kind of like this car. But like they said that if I want to fit in, I should do this and I should do that. And like they're all excited. Like the car comes out in like a month and they already have them pre-ordered. Can you pre-order a car? Like as soon as they're on the road, they're gonna be the first ones. And like this person has that color and the other person has another color and I have this third color. And the parents, and maybe the parents are like, are they gonna are they gonna wreck it? Like this is the moment of truth. This is what the other parents told us. And maybe it wasn't joking. Maybe they're like, yeah, my kid wanted to like wreck their car so they can get a new one. Ha ha ha. Like we have money. I don't know. Again, it's a lifestyle that's not my own. I know it's a little caricaturistic, um, but it's like it's something that they accept, right? And it's this luminous space where their kid becomes their own person. And then it's like, it's that the kid's all right. We have nothing to worry about type of energy. So taming the wind, we have the moon and flow, and then the curse and the ancient ones. Now the end of this is very interesting. Taming the wind, moon flow, the curse and the ancient ones. Oof, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I just gotta shiver. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick because I just started drinking water. And I'm not gonna make it another minute. Literally, I'll be right back. Oh wait. You can look at Saturn. There you go. This is so awkward. Getting back in frame. So like usually like the screen would still be whatever and you wouldn't see me like getting back in my chair and roll into it. It's fine, it's whatever. So the end of this, excuse me, the end of this, the moon flow, the curse and the ancient ones. The curse and the ancient ones, this is like something returning that has been missing for a while. And it's something unspoken because it's something unspeakable. It's almost like it's this energy that's like there are more and more and more luminous warriors. And as there are more and more and more luminous warriors, there's a luminosity. The luminosity level of the earth increases in like, a very real way. But it's increasing in presence, not just in word. That's the whole thing here, right? Like, it's not even a test for that kid. That kid is like, there's no way I'm about to go and wreck this new car. Like, hello. But again, there's something about the different experience that also, like, it simplifies the metaphor, but it also grounds it in a way that may be more like conceivable, right? Um, it's like it's easier. Well, no, because it happens all the time. People win the lottery or they come into life changing amounts of money. I'm not going to use abundance. I'm not going to say the word abundance because this is like wealth and there's a difference. Now, this luminous warrior, this household may be abundant. Maybe it's like it's an abundance that exists in the midst of wealth. Um, but it's like it's because, they have the experiences that they had before they came into the money that it makes them a little bit more conscientious. And again, I know that there are very financially conscientious people who have way more money than I can even imagine. Just because someone has wealth doesn't mean that like they're just blowing it on everything, right? Doesn't mean that they aren't, but it doesn't mean that they are. But for the sake of the metaphor, it's like that's what makes it different, or that's how that person could find that pathway because their parents, and then it's like, let's say that, because there are many paths for our luminous warrior, right? There will be paths where that luminous warrior get the new car. There will be paths where they decide not to, and they also don't wreck their car. Like the reason why they don't get the new car isn't because they tried and failed. It's because they realized that they don't even want it. That path was not their pathway. Just because their friends were doing it didn't mean that they had to do it, especially in that color. You know what I mean? And it is a little Mean Girls like. So this would be the Katie hair, and like I just got the car, and even if I did get that car, I'd want it in pink. Like I wouldn't. Who would want the car in the ugliest color that they have? Like I get what you're trying to do here. You're trying to show me where I fall in our like in the hierarchy of our little clique or whatever. Anyway, ultimately, it's not about what I want. It's about appearances that I'm not interested in keeping. This is the child, the luminous warrior. What's a luminous warrior child? The bright child. No, the fighter. uh the brilliant one. We'll call it the brilliant one. Um and then I love that even in flow, we see that same there's something up here that's opening pathways that the curse. It's unspeakable because you can't lecture character into someone. You can't teach morality. Like you can teach ethics and you can teach morality, but you can't like again, like we all make the choice. We all make choices and decisions in our own lives. But because Owl is here and because Owl can see behind closed doors, Owl knows what is said and what is taught. Owl watches to see what is done. And it's like this pathway, this luminous warrior was already sort of like, or the breaking of this curse, or the return of the ancient ones in this way was already predicated when the owl passed whoever was on the journey and when Eagle came to pick them up. It's almost like Eagle is populating 3D Earth. It's almost like Eagle is populating this new place. And it's because, like who would want I mean maybe for some people heaven is where they're the only person on earth. But it's happening. Now this is giving like change maker energy. This is giving people who are being positioned in ways to make changes. This is collectives of people who are demanding change. This is the individuals who can take that demand and move in a way to have it fulfilled. This is new doctors and lawyers and leaders and new politicians and new, like, for the things that we may view as corrupt and unsavable. These are those who would take an oath to serve the people and who will do that. This is those who will take their Hippocratic oath and who will do that. This is the everyone that is required and needed for the world to work, but this is them who do it in a way that we're moving in, rather than who will continue to make tomorrow's yesterdays, where we're stuck in history because, again, we don't take that step forward. Cool. And of course, it's also the ones who raise them, because children don't raise well. Children shouldn't have to raise themselves. I was going to say children don't raise themselves, but I know a few who do and who have had to. I'm just going to look for like mirror numbers and stuff like that. I'm going to read the numbers. We got 36, 29, 16, 39, 52, 38, 25, 34, 42, 32, 55, 37, 20, 14, and 1. We ain't got, and then 27. We ain't got no mirrors up in here. 36, 29, 16, 39, 52, 38, 25. We have a 52 and 25, 34, 42, 32. No 23, no 24. 55 is its own mirror. 37, 20, 14, and 1. There's no 41. And then 27 there. The only mirror that's on the table is the standstill in the holy mountain. And I love that. And the thing that sits between the standstill holy mountain mirror is a 3811. This is the mirror. The standstill, the mystical shaman, the holy mountain. And again, I love that because it's an energy of someone establishing themselves as an individual. And that's like, I feel like if this were full of mirrors, like there's something about this that justifies, like this child would be so atypical in their environment. That's like, that's this curse energy. It's not something that isn't spoken because it can't be. It's something that can't even be conceived because of the way that people live their lives, right? It's one of those, well, when I was your age, I also wrecked a few cars to get what I wanted. It's fine. And my parents did it and their parents did it. Our money goes back a long ways and our whatever has all but evaporated. Or it's fine. It's the metaphor, okay? But this luminous warrior, this child, is different. It can't, like, and again, this isn't an intentional silencing of whatever. It's when we're so far into what everyone else does and what is expected, when a rite of passage becomes more about upholding, like I want to say upholding tradition, but it's not. It is, but it isn't. More so than that rite of passage being where a child discovers who they are and what they think and what their ethical, moral sort of compass is, right? And beyond that, it's just like, it's when a child becomes their own person. That's the rite of passage. It's the first. Again, it's like there's so much freedom that comes with it. It's the first time a parent has to really there are times before that, obviously, but it's a time when a parent lets go and their kid has the ability and the means to leave, to go and do whatever. It's just like it's never been seen. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. You know what I literally just realized? I'm looking at the ancient one again, right? What I notice first is this. I notice this heart in the ancient one. And then I notice this. You see it? I know the light isn't great. I could have turned it on. I can still turn it on. I won't, but I could. Interesting. And then also, like, you see this luminous, there's a luminosity here on the bridge of the nose and across the nose. And then also that feels like luminous from the luminous warrior. And it's almost like the luminous warriors is sparking. The ancient ones, you can see it's like lighter around the under the eyes. Hers is like full glow. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Is this the same? So now I look at the curse, right? And I see the same heart. I don't know if I hold it that way towards the light, maybe. If I angle it towards the light a little bit. Okay, maybe too much. You see the heart that's kind of like covered or whatever? And then it's unblocked in the ancient ones. It's muted here. But again, with the way that I'm like, with the way it's coming out, this isn't something that's being suppressed or whatever. It's just like it's people. People are peopling, and I guess not enough people, more and more people are peopling, and more people are not wrecking their cars. And the more people who don't wreck their cars, the more we live in a world where it's not full of junked, completely fine cars because kids thought they would get new ones or whatever. It's just something that's like not even close to reality. You know what I mean? It's not that life. It can't even be conceived of. It's not being withheld or muted or silenced. It's just like we like to think of that a lot of evil exists in the world, and there is a lot, but again, it seems like we're so keen and so apt to blame governments and organizations and politics and these folks and those folks and the people behind the doors who make all the choices and decisions. Sure, but at the end of the day, it's people who go along with it. And there have always been people who have been on the right side. Always. There have always been people who have been like, you know what, this isn't right. And we shouldn't do this. Sometimes the very silent, suppressed, seemingly absent minority. But there have always been folks who knew when wrong was wrong. And of course, it's easy to be like, well, historically, that's what the world was at that time. And now we know better. We always knew better. We just didn't choose better. So why would we get anything different than what we had and where we are, right? At the end of the day, it's people like you and me and your grandma and your auntie and your dad, your mom, your kids, your brothers, sisters, neighbors, friends, who make choices and decisions, who have turned blind eyes, who have bought into whatever for the sake of a whole bunch of stuff. There's a wild woman. She's got this heart. She got that one from the ancient ones. It's still different than the ancient ones because in the ancient ones, it was actually in reverse. And that was one thing I noticed that was interesting. The ancient ones had the heart on the crown and the spade on the heart. All right. Final card to end this video. It's like, what, 3-4 hours almost I've been live today. Taming the Wind. Am I taking it? Nope. It didn't come out. It revealed itself. There was a card behind it that I don't know, but you got to hit the table. I just decided you got to hit the table, and I'm closing my eyes. 2 cards at the most, please. No more. The one card I don't want. The one card where I'm like, WTF is this? Which is interestingly the mirror of the ancient ones. The corn. It's always, and the thing about corn today, it comes out the same way that it goes in. And this is actually profound. This is actually significant. It comes out the same way that it goes in. It's not changed. The digestive stomach acids, the treacherous packed through bubble and bile, and the corn kernels still emerge exactly as they were. This is one that isn't chewed up, deformed, digested. It's not changed by circumstances. Corn will literally be chomped on, gnashed up, go through the stomach, travel down the esophagus, sit in that pile of, or sit in that, vat of the stomach acid. It will travel through the intestines, be lumped in with poop, and still emerge as a whole kernel. It goes through the process. It comes out as it went in. The corn said, if you're really luminous, there is nothing that this world could do that would stop your shine. And it is what it is. Bottom of the deck is the ghost dance. Under that is the earth keeper. Under that is flow. The ghost dance, the earth keeper, and flow. Her expression is just so funny to me. What's behind Flo? The eagle. Of course, Flo is behind. I knew Flo. I knew something powerful would be behind the eagle. So we have the corn, right? The corn is the luminous one who came into the world luminous, who will go out luminous, who may flicker a little bit here and there, but they are luminous. That's just what they are. They're not changed by the world. They're not darkened. They're not sullied. Of course, they go through life just like everybody else. That kid got a new car just like everybody else, was told to wreck their car to get the new one just like everybody else. But they said, no, why would I do that? And again, that's the thing about the curse. They do the thing that is it's not that it's hidden or unthinkable. It's like if you really knew the divine, and if you really knew who you are, you don't have to be told to do or to not do certain things. The truth of the divine speaks to you, and you don't need a hierophant to tell you. You don't need a hierophant to tell you, hey, like, you shouldn't do this. It's like when people are like, specifically Christians, but I'm sure it's not unique to Christianity, when they like hear of someone who's like atheist or agnostic or who believes in a different God, and they're like, without God or without Jesus, like, I would be I don't know. They make it seem like without God and without Jesus, I would be stealing, killing, murdering, doing all the stuff that the Ten Commandments tells us not to do. And it's like, I feel like a lot of the Ten Commandments is like decency. It's like general human decency, right? If Jesus is the only thing keeping you from going on a murdering spree, well, I'm glad you got Jesus. You know what I mean? But people ain't just out here murdering folk without Jesus. That's how you can meet like an atheist person who's still a good person. Like you can meet someone who's an atheist and think more of their character than you would think of a Christian as a Christian, right? As a Christian, someone can meet someone who's an atheist and think more highly of them than they would other Christians. And it's like, because like there are things that, again, it's just like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't keep, there are a whole lot of things that don't make us better people. Because behind closed doors and who we really are, if that's who we really are, and if that's what we do, it doesn't matter how we show up on Sunday or Bible study or whatever. But that's not what the owl looks at anyway. But again, it's just this corn. It's like there is nothing like the human body, like getting through the digestive system is a feat. And for it to still be intact and still bright and shiny yellow in those brown stools, it speaks to corn. It's something that can't be broken down by the body, right? And so it's like, this is the expectation of what Earth gets. Flo and the eagle. The reality is the Earth Keeper and Ghost Dance. This is like who, and again, I know I'm being a little, I don't want to say facetious, partially because at this point, I don't even remember if I know what it means. Well, I kind of do. Let's see. I think that's the word I want. Hey, Google, define facetious. Define facetious. Hey, Google, define facetious. Hey, Google, define facetious.
Here's the definition of facetious: treating serious issues with deliberately inappropriate humor, flippant.
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where I want it. Ooh. I don't want to be facetious. But it's like, you know, who you thought the Pleiades was sending versus who actually shows up. And it's the expression of the Earth Keeper, where she's like, there's something about her that's just like, this is what we get. I don't even know if you can see it. Like, I feel like there's like a meme or something that has that expression. It's just like, womp womp. What you thought you were getting with Flo and the Eagle, the ones who get scooped. And it's like, as people get scooped, the environment around them gets scooped. Get scooped, no, I'm just playing. But like, this is what actually happens. It's the ghost dance. It's like nothing. And then the spiral is there. This is life, right? We all go through this spiral. This eagle can pick out the corn from the ghost dance. We'll just say that. The eagle can pick out the corn from the ghost dance in that spiral. We all go through it. It's a thing that happens. It happens. But yeah, that's still a lot. But these are at the bottom of the deck. And that's that. So maybe I guess it's just like, in my life, I want to move beyond and take accountability for the things that I can take accountability for. Still, like I said, like in the what does Patrick do? What does Patrick say? Patrick is learning to receive and accept, but there are a lot of things that kept me from being able to receive the things that I want. Partially, some of that time I had a reason. I had a good reason to be weary or mindful or cautious, but I don't need to be as much anymore. In fact, it's almost like it's required of me to not be. And maybe it's more like there are ways that I feel it's almost like it's to be in real life or to be in person rather than to project myself as being on the internet. And it's not, trust me, believe me, I've made many a friend on the internet. It's not that these relationships are any less meaningful. It's more so like I want to be that person in the real world. You know what I mean? Because I think sometimes it's easier to find havens and to find communities online. But sometimes it's like if you get off, like when you log off, it's like, you're left with the world that you live in. And like I said, like when I manifest, yeah, of course there are things that I manifest for me, but ultimately I manifest for the entirety of the world. Because there's parts like I don't want to be the only one that's like thriving. I don't like thriving amidst decay. And like, of course, I'm at the point, or I'm reaching the point where I'm not going to forfeit something that's for me to receive because someone else is like going through it. It's like I can't. I owe it to me, and I owe it to the work that I did to also accept and receive the things that are the good that's coming for me. And if there are more ways that I need to learn and grow, of course I'm going to do it. But again, like it's not fair to me, and it's not fair to my efforts to not accept it because someone else isn't whatever, or because someone else has what's coming to them and they were cutting corners and now the foundation is shaky and it's falling. When I was in the weeds, in the muck, tending to the mud so I could get a lotus someday. I was 5 of swords dirty. But yeah, I don't like it because it's like it's awkward. It's awkward too, you know what I mean? But again, we all make our own choices and decisions. And when karma comes, we don't get anything that we don't deserve. Whatever happens, we deserve it, including all the good, but sometimes more importantly, the bad. And it seems like, again, some of the ways that I've been seeing it play out, it's like long standing. Like people who may inherit things through virtue of circumstantiality. And at that point, girl, it's all WTF to me. Like, what is happening? But also, like, the more people who are in the world, like, healed and whole and, like, who have that substance in the foundation, like, the better my interactions, like, everyday interactions are going to be, too. Like, we only stand to benefit in Patrick's world and in Patrick's mind and in Patrick's belief and heart. Like, I only stand to benefit when others experience success, right? Because again, like not only do I not want to be miserable, I don't want to be surrounded by misery. And what's worse, like I don't want to be surrounded by stagnant misery. Like there are things when we have a rough day and we have a tough time and that happens, that's life, I don't mind it. But to be committed to living that and to choose to stay stuck in that, like I liberated myself from it. I can't, and maybe a little bit, there are things again that I want to do ways that I want to show up in more personally, I'll say, ways that I want to show up more personally that, again, I guess I don't feel as needed. Not that I ever felt needed, but there were things that like I said, there were things that I felt warranted saying. And now that I've said them, I feel like, it's on to my personal life and trying to do and be there as much as I've tried to do and be on here. Um, so yeah, I'm sure I'm not going anywhere, and you'll probably, I don't know about tomorrow, but you'll probably be seeing me. But it was just stuff, I guess, that I needed to say because I was like, I don't want this to be it for me. Like I don't. And again, some people do, but it takes all kinds of people. I would love to work for a corporation or for a company that like cares, that gives back, that is full of integrity, that can be everything that we want from companies and from people, you know what I mean? And maybe it's the lover of convenience in me, but I don't want to have to do everything myself. I don't want to have to grow all of my own food and like cook all of my own food and prepare all of my own food. Like some things, yeah, I would love to, but for everything, for every single meal, I don't want to have to be responsible for like generating my own power and creating my own networks like internet and like I love the comforts of the modern world. And I also think that we haven't because we haven't necessarily navigated business in ethical ways, that doesn't mean it's impossible. I think that there is a way that we can enjoy modern comforts and also have enough kindness, compassion, and decency for others that, like, instead of um, horrific, unimaginable treatment for people in certain countries, we like import, export like we do literally everything else. You know what I mean? Like we can fairly compensate. And where there can be a distribution of wealth and a circulation of money that like supports that. It's especially when we try to hoard and to get for cheap and to try to minimize the efforts and the importance of others and to relegate them in a sort of obscurity that we can justify to others and to ourselves their poor treatment and lack of compensation. It's like, I don't know. I believe it's possible. That's the world that I'd rather see. And I don't feel like I have to choose. I don't feel like I have to choose between compassion and comfort. Right? Because we literally pay, import, export, other stuff. Like the systems are already in place. It's the hearts of people and the minds of man that may not necessarily fit or align to the presence of the divine and the divinity within each of us, that we are more and more and more collectively, louder and louder and more loudly calling for. It's like, again, if we want to be Age of Aquarius, this united human collective, it requires something of us to show up in certain ways and to care and to, do stuff. It's like, to say that we want peace and not demand it accomplished through silence, but to see it actualized through action. So anyway, that's what I got. That's everything that I needed to say and what I was supposed to start the last video with, but I guess I didn't get to the point quick enough and my computer crapped out on me my computer was like, you are not talking about what you said you would talk about. Leave all this mess at the door. Don't worry about what Anubis is doing. Anubis' skills don't matter. Say what you would say. And, of course, because I communicate this with you collectively, generally, viewer, I now give myself permission to do all of that, not creative, I guess maybe, so in some way, creative, to do all of that curiosity, exploration, but to also trust and rely on the fact that, I'm not going to have to say, or I don't have to say, of course, if you're not this person. Like, this is an energy that is so abundant and amazing, and it's coming for the kind and caring, compassionate. Like, I shouldn't have to reiterate, if you're not kind, caring, and compassionate, then this is not for you. Because this amazing, gorgeous energy is attracted to, just like that owl, is attracted to a certain kind of heart. And if you know that that's not your heart, you can't force this to resonate. Try to steal or lay claim to the abundance unfolding and not have the character that the energy is saying that it's coming with. That ain't how it works. So anyway, I'll have a decent one, Holly. I'm going to eat the rest of, some more of this food that I made. That's actually pretty decent. I'm going to put a little bit more salt in it to really make it pop. And I feel like there's something like a movie or something that I meant to watch. I still have so many hours left in the day. I was live for 4 hours now? Because this is 3:11 and the other video was 43:43. And it's not 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. It's the same amount of time, but I still have evening left. I'm excited. But yeah, I'm going to get a preview. Oof, I am not using the Dolly Tarot. Oh, I could use this deck. The Energy Oracle cards are a brilliant combination of really fantastic and not that great energies. Well, we'll see. What is next for the future of Patrick? And should he delete his channel? I'm not going to do that. I don't feel that it's necessarily for me to do that, because ever since I started reading, even if I had nobody viewing the video, I'm still reading the energy like I'm reading the energy, because I don't know who's going to come across whatever later. Right? And maybe it'll apply. Maybe I'll go back and watch the videos and it'll apply back then. You know what I mean? I don't know who sees or who will see. And I just go in the direction that I'm guided. So even sometimes if I do pop off a little bit, oh my gosh. Wow. Call me out. Call me out. I never know who's going to come or what's going to come later. I don't question it. I just go with it. I'm sure there's a lot of videos. If somebody watched them, they may be like, who is he talking to? There's nobody. There's literally 0 views on this video. Okay, literally maybe 2, 3, or 4. It's not about the views. Especially I would be so comfortable. Just not that I'm not comfortable when people are here, obviously, but. So, that's also very important. The Journey card came out. And I was like, Journey? What? I didn't just see that card 5 times in the Mystical Shaman Oracle cards. But the Garden and the Gate was at the bottom of the deck. And I was like, oof. Because in the Garden and the Gate, there's a comfort and there's a stability and security inside of the garden. The gate is locked, but she has the key. So it's like, okay, you saying all this again, but is you going to receive it, though? You saying this and you saying that, but is you going to show up, though? I am. This deck ain't got to worry about me. Patrick, do what he got to do. If there's anything that the card said, is that Patrick, at the end of the day, he do what he got to do. And if Patrick got to learn how to open up, soften up, and receive, then by darn it, Patrick is going to open up, soften up, and receive. Hey, All right. So it's in there somewhere. I just saw an edge of the card when it flipped over. What is the future of this for Patrick? Rest and rejuvenation is at the bottom of the deck again, which I still need to do. So rest and rejuvenation was at the bottom after I shuffled it with the journey and the garden and the gate that came out. I was trying to see if anything else would come out and it didn't. I am learning to rest. I am being rejuvenated. I'm actually going to be able to do some of that too on vacation. The future of this channel. Oof. Not 444. So the woman holding a heart came out. Not me when I was like, if I got to open up, soften up, and receive, then by darn it, I'm going to open up, soften up, and receive. And then the woman holding a heart comes out. I have a question. It's nothing meant by it. But like a woman holding whose heart? It doesn't say that the woman is holding her own heart. And then I flipped the top of the deck because I was like, what is it? It's number 4. Happy family. That's what's next for this channel. Woman holding a heart and happy family. With rest and rejuvenation at the bottom of the deck. Love that energy. Woman holding a heart said, leave that Queen of Swords in reverse in the past, The world has changed now. The landscape is different. You'll see. I was like, okay, all right. Let's go. Let's do this. Patrick said he ready. I'm ready. So with all that being said, I hope that you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope that you have an amazing whenever you see this. But if you don't want to have an amazing whatever, then I hope you the experience that you want to have. I hope that I'm going to say I pray that you, I don't know. My brain just died. My stomach is a rumbling. I hope you have a good whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I pray that as the eagle comes for thee, that you stand ready to be scooped. I hope you a discernment and an intuition that is healthier than healthy, that is more robust and vivified than the most virulent of whatever's not virulent, virile. Hey Siri, define virile, virile. I said hey Siri and I'm holding up my Android. Hey Google, define virulent. Hey Google, define virulent. No, Google don't want to listen to me. Hey Google, define virulent.
Here's the definition of virulent.
No. That is not the word I wanted. Not virulent. Is that not a word? virilent? It's not? No. What? Virile is a word. Is that really not a word? If it isn't a word, I feel like it should be. Having strength, energy, and a strong, well, okay, maybe not the strong sex drive, but more like strength, energy, you know. That was more than I was thinking. What is the female term for virile? What? I've never heard this word before. Virility, virile. Maybe virility. Virility is the word that I wanted, and not virulent. But what if like something that has the characteristic of being virile? Virulence, right? Or its virility. I guess, yeah. I don't know. It don't end in a way that flow like how I want it to. I've never what was that muliebrity? Muliebrity has been used in English to suggest the distinguishing characteristic or qualities of a woman or of womanhood since the 16th century. Its masculine counterpart, virility, entered the language at about the same time. How come I ain't never heard this word? The patriarchy. I'm kidding, kind of. Muliebrity? Muliberous. Girl, I can't even pronounce it.
Muliebrity.
Muliebrity. So I wasn't completely off. Muliebrity.
Muliebrity.
I don't know. Muliebrity. Cool. Anyway, whatever you need along your path, journey, and way, I hope you find, just like I hope the same for me. And I hope you, the most Hippocratic of healers, if that is what you need. And I also hope you, again, for the sake of brevity and celerity on your journey, I hope you find those that resonate for you. And if I am not the one that resonates for you, especially here lately or as I move forward, then I won't take it personally. And I hope you find whoever and whatever you need. I know that I'm not for everyone. I don't make it my business to try to be. Just because I know that I'm not for everyone and because I don't try to be for everyone doesn't mean that, I try to intentionally be whatever. But it's just like, it's time. And this is, I feel like we're entering the time that a lot of us have been, at least collectively, when we all get together and do our whatever together, the world that we've been manifesting and the lives that we want to live, it's almost like now is the time to put in the work, to put in the action, to do, to be, to rise, to see, to sing, if you feel so led. To let your voice be heard in whatever way, but to follow it up with action, to build upon your foundations and to create the things and to work in harmony with the universe, with the divine, as it seeks or sees us find balance in those ways that maybe we were never capable of before. Because maybe we just that's not what we were aligned to. It's not who we were. It's not how we showed up. Right? Maybe we were wrecking cars because everyone else was wrecking cars, even though we knew it's not what we wanted to do. I hope you the strength to stand. Alone if you need, apart for sure, and all of your uniqueness and individuality. And I hope you an experience that just because you do that doesn't make you isolated or separate or alone, right? You can be unique and individual and still have a place to belong and fit in. So anyway, I hope you, if you want that, experience it. I know there's a lot of things that haven't necessarily been the norm for a while, but as things change, things change. And I hope for myself too, that I can see that things change and that, I feel like the points have been said and mentioned, and I don't necessarily always have to keep, we'll see. We'll see. I have patience with myself, mostly. I think so. Anyway, long, whatever, summarized. See you next time. And thanks for being here. Thanks for spending time with me. I hope if the only thing that resonates within you about me is that I'm not for you, I hope you take it. Because really, life is too short. The journey need not be made any longer. I hope you get what you need. And even through the difficult parts, again, I hope sometimes context helps just to at the very least know why. And I think sometimes we can invent and create contexts by dictating. Sometimes we can dictate what an experience does for us. Sometimes, at the very least, we choose the ways in which we grow. And sometimes we can go through an experience and be like, you know what? Not again. I experienced this. I'm done with it. This is not the path that I need to take. I now know what I know. I now see what I had not seen. And I will do what I need more than just saying this won't happen again and I'll never be here. I will do what I need to do to ensure that this doesn't happen again. I will clean the mode behind the fridge because I don't want it to touch my brand new velour couch. And I don't even know if you can have a velour couch, but if you could have a velour couch, I'm sure it would be the best gosh darn couch in the world. And it's way too comfy to house between its fibers all those mold spores. And do it for the velour couch, you know? Do it for the inner Taurus in you, or the Libra. Do it for the Venusian part of you that likes comfort, but also the Martian part of you that will do what is required in order to have that comfort, you know? And then enjoy it when it's time to enjoy. When it's time to rest. Because, you know, all work and no play, all play and no work makes Jack a dull boy and Sally a jerk.